You're in the right place. Online, on the web, and on air. All over the world.
Yeah, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the KTPF Community
Talk Radio
Show. And tonight we are here in the hub with myself, Suzanne,
and Steve.
And hopefully we've got quite a few people there in the guest room. So maybe you can join the chat room and talk to our guests a little bit later. We've got quite a few coming on.
Well, the counter just went up.
You hear us,
nobody's in chat.
We hear you.
What was that? Let me just play that again.
And now here's a word from our sponsor.
Let me try that again.
You hear us, we hear you.
Yeah, a little bit previous. Our sponsors trying to get in there, weren't they?
They wasn't it. I said we just got 10 on the old counter up, but nobody's actually coming in the actual chat room at the moment.
No, don't forget, if you do lose us, because it's a live stream and they do have a habit of checking their system because they're Americans and they work on a different time scale to us, please refresh the page. We've had a few problems this afternoon where it keeps on disconnecting, but we will be back if it's us. So don't be shy, as Ghost Rider says. Come on in and talk to us. I'm sure there's a few people out there trying to sign in. Don't forget, you don't have to sign in as such. Just join in the fun. That's all.
Yeah, just put your chat name in and away you go.
This is it. So just to let you know who's on tonight, we have Richard Holland. We'll be calling him up at about 8:30. For those of you who don't know, Richard Holland has been in the paranormal genre for many years. He's the former editor of Paranormal Magazine and author of Haunted Wells and 4 other books on Welsh folklore. So he'll be talking to us. Hi, Lee.
I think next week's guest just signed in.
Yes, that's Lee Brickley. That is next week's guest. So don't forget, if you are listening, please join in the fun on the chat room. So tonight, as I say, in the chat room at the moment, we do have Lee B and we have Ghost Rider, and I'm sure all the rest are joining very soon. They normally do, don't they, Steve?
Yep, they're normally in about now. Sherlock and Helen will be in soon, and Green Lee.
And everybody else, yep. And we've had a bit of a hectic week this week, I must admit. And thankfully, Richard contacted us this afternoon, so we will be having a show tonight. But later on, we will be speaking to a paranormal group called Caledonia Paranormal from up there in Bonnie, Scotland. So I'm sure they'll be listening in soon, if they're not listening in already. So how's your week been then, Steve? I know it's the same as mine, but what's your take on the week?
Knackered.
Very knackered.
well, we started out by getting all our DVDs and everything all packed away and transferred to computer and things, because we're looking to move soon. Either way, it makes some space, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's exactly.
And we've never really caught up since.
No, and we're planning to go to Romania next week, and I thought it was 2 weeks away, so that's come on us a bit quick.
We made a trip to Norwich.
Yeah, and we're going to be going to a portal next week.
The back and beyond is Norwich.
Yeah, I know. The
amount of time it takes to get there.
I think that's paranormal in Norwich. It must be a portal in its own self. I don't know. So anyway, we've got some observations this week, haven't we, Steve?
Oh, yes. Would you like me to start?
Yeah, why not? Go for it.
Let's click on that one there. Okay. I'm off to China first.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Wow.
China started a new training program for their police officers this week.
Yeah.
Prospective SWAT officers are being left in a haunted house alone to prove their bravery.
Oh.
The recruits are left by themselves with only a flashlight to battle the ghosts in the abandoned building. They are expected to show that they are able to remain calm in the presence of paranormal activity.
Oh, I see.
The training facility was a former driving school and is allegedly haunted. Police instructors have also rigged the building with electronic devices to simulate more paranormal activity. They're cheating. The house generates tension, fear, and inability to concentrate and improves psychological balance. police instructor. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Zingang explained. See, I told you I had to speak Chinese this week. A journalist from the Wuhu Evening News, and that's good, wasn't it? Wuhan, was allowed to do a test run and the new police training centre.
Mm-hmm.
After only 3 steps, my flashlight shone on a skeleton. Suddenly the wind started howling and there was lightning. I saw another skeleton hanging in the middle of a pouring rain.
Mm-hmm.
Then I heard a woman weeping and then giggling. When I turned, a female corpse with long hair dressed in a white was hanging from a tree, said the journalist.
Oh, wow.
Cadets study the floor plan for 1 minute and then their mission is to find a control room to put a stop to the ghost and paranormal activity.
Mm.
I want to know how they're going to stop the real ghost.
Oh, I don't know. So, interesting.
Guess where I'm going now?
Where are you going now?
Australia.
Oh,
I'm
way.
going-
Down under.
There's a little thing here from a lady who lives in Perth, Western Australia.
All right, they show you that?
Yeah. Actually, that name's Michelle, but there, close.
All right, then.
And this incident happened in June 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It was late at night and I was about to go to bed. I went to shut my back sliding door when all of a sudden something ran straight past me in human form. I even heard footsteps and it kept running through the house. I went to my front door and looked around, but nothing was there. Scared the hell out of me, she said. It just vanished. The weird thing was that it looked like my daughter, who is alive and well, and this thing just came from nowhere. And she wanted to know if anybody else had experienced similar things.
No. Well, I don't think us in the UK would have experienced anything, but if you do, please let us know if you are in New Zealand listening to us.
Apparently it's called a wraith.
Oh, right. A wraith.
A wraith. Spelled W-R-A-I-T-H.
Oh, right. Okay. So, well, I've got one for you.
Go on in.
Right, I'm going to take you to Brazil, to be honest with you. Looking for a side job with decent pay, odd hours, and a possible brush with the unexplained? What do you reckon, Steve?
Sounds good to me.
Being paranormal bait might just be the job for you.
I just changed my mind.
And there's at least one group hiring. The 42-member strong ACAM, or Association of Haunt Mariana in I've got big words now. In Belo Horizonte, Brazil, has been dealing with all manner of terror inflicted on their own version of the chupacabra. The menacing Caboclo de Agua, roughly translated, a bizarre monster seen as responsible for the mass deaths of livestock, has even been blamed for the death of at least 4 humans. ACAM says the creature resembles the monstrous amalgamation of several animals, with the body of a monkey, legs like a chicken, and head and scales resembling a lizard. It's believed the creature lives underwater, only coming onto the dry land in order to prey upon helpless victims. Now, 2 years ago, the Caboclo de Agua allegedly killed a young boy. Sorry about this next bit, guys, but it was apparently was pulling his testicles out as he was swimming in one of the region's rivers. Since then, ACAM have been working on a plan to capture the beast once and for all, and settled on a scheme involving a river, a huge metal cage, and a piece of bait, human bait. How do you get a person to offer themselves up to a monster? You offer them $1,000 a day. What do you reckon?
I think they can keep it.
Now, I'm reading this exactly how it was reported in their local paper, and it says the 3 brave meat puppets signed up for the initial task, including the editor of a local newspaper. But in the end, the 37-year-old Daniel Pinto was hired for the gig, a decision based off his athleticism and generally quick monster hunting abilities. He did a resistance test on the spot and was approved, said the team's Secretary General. He tested the candidates for 2 hours and evaluated their attempt to leave the cage. He then added, he did very well and was the fastest. After signing a waiver exempting Acam from any wrongdoing, should he be maimed, mutilated, or munched on, Pinto is now officially on tap as chupacabra bait, a task that will result in him eventually being shoved into a cage with a goat and observed from afar for at least 24 hours. If Pinto sees the creature slink out of the water and approach he and the goat, his job is to wait until the beast is in the cage before escaping through a secret door, trapping the monster and hopefully living to tell the tale. For his trouble, he'll earn a cool grand. What do you think of Acam's plan to capture the creature? Would you be the human bait for $1,000?
No, but Ghost Rider seems to think it's a job for your sister.
Oh, right, okay. Well, while we've been talking there, we've got a few more in. We've got Tigger's come in. Welcome, Tigger. And we've also got Helen. And is that you that's Shadow One that I can hardly read? Yeah, I think it is. So we've got a couple more people in. There's more people listening than there is anybody else. Yeah,
I'm off to Brazil now.
You're off to Brazil as well?
Oh, yes.
You're going to meet me there?
I'll meet you there.
Okay.
Okay. It's about the Brazilian Atlantis.
Uh-huh.
Brazilian geologists have announced the discovery 1,500 kilometers from Rio of what could be part of a continent submerged when the Atlantic Ocean was formed, as Africa and South America drifted apart 100 million years ago.
Mm.
Robert Ventura Santos, a top official of Brazil's Geology Service, the CPRM, said granite samples were found years ago during dredging operation in an area known as Rio Grande Elevation, a mountain range in Brazilian and international waters. Granite is seen as continental rock. This could be the Brazilian Atlantis. We are almost certain, but we must bolster our hypothesis. He was quoted as saying in the G1 News website, we will have a final scientific recognition this year when we conduct drilling in the area to retrieve more samples. Initially, the scientists thought they were mistaken, but last month that their case was bolstered when a team of Brazilian and Japanese scientists aboard Japan's manned research submersible Shinkaya 6500 observed the underwater geological formation located opposite the Brazilian coast. From analysis, we began to see the area could be a piece of the continent that disappeared into the sea millions of years ago, said Ventura.
Mm.
So it seems that everybody's got a bit of... so we've been to Brazil, China, Australia, and now I'm going to Peru. An ancient astronomical alignment in southern Peru has been discovered by researchers between a pyramid and two lines of stones and the setting sun during the winter solstice. During the solstice, hundreds of years ago, the three would have lined up and framed a pyramid in light. Two stone lines called geoglyphs are located about 1.2 miles, 2 kilometers southeast from the pyramid, and run for about 1,640 feet. That's 500 meters. The researchers say the lines are positioned in such a way as to frame the pyramid, and as one descended down the valley from the highlands. Using astronomical software and 3D modelling, the researchers determined that a remarkable event would have occurred during the time of the winter solstice.
Mm.
And that's me out. Do you have another one, Susie?
Yes, I do, actually.
Go for it.
Right. My last one is about 6 years of monstrous savagery. Okay. This week, actually, 6 years ago, there was, according to Mysterious Universe, almost to the very week, just over 6 years ago, a deeply strange series of events kicked off in the woods of central England. On April the 26th, 2007, the Stafford Post newspaper stated the following: a rash of sightings of a werewolf-type creature prowling around the outskirts of Stafford have prompted a respected Midlands paranormal group to investigate. The newspaper continued that West Midlands Ghost Club says they have been contacted by a number of shocked residents who saw what they claimed to be a hairy wolf-type creature walking on its hind legs around the German War Cemetery just off Camp Road, in between Stafford and Cannock. Several of them claim the creature sprang up on its hind legs and ran into the nearby bushes when it was spotted. And Nick Duffy of West Midlands Ghost Club said of the strange affair, the first person to contact us was a postman who told us he had seen what he thought was a werewolf on the German War Cemetery site. He said he was over there on a motorbike and saw what he believed to be was a large dog. When he got closer, the creature got on his hind legs and ran away. The Post quoted Duffy as adding that I've spoke to many witnesses and I know when they are putting it on. But what struck me as strange about this was that the way he told it. I'm in no doubt that he was telling the truth. We tried to contact Nick Duffy and West Midlands Ghost Group to come on tonight to maybe elaborate on this, because it seems to be the 6-year anniversary of this story. But we haven't managed to get hold of him. The creature was also apparently spotted by a scout leader walking over the forest land early in April. The man, who told the Stafford Post, stated did not want to be named, and said he saw what he initially believed was a large dog prowling by the bushes. It was only when he got into his car to drive away that he realised something very weird indeed was afoot. He said it was looked like a huge dog, but when I slammed the door of my car, it reared up on its back legs and ran into the trees. It must have been about 6 or 7 feet tall. I know it sounds absolutely mad, but I know what I saw. Were real life werewolves really living deep in the woods around the German cemetery? True or not, the local media, recognising that the story was undoubtedly a great one, continued to run with it whenever and wherever possible. 1 month later, the following account occurred within the pages of the Chase Post. A tribe of subterranean creatures who surface on Cannock Chase to hunt for food could be behind a rash of werewolf and Bigfoot sightings near Stafford, and the mysterious beings could also be responsible for a string of pet disappearances, it has been claimed. Newspaper staff added theories behind the sightings ranged from a crazed tramp to aliens. But now another paranormal expert has put forward a theory that subhuman beast is not a werewolf at all, but a Stone Age throwback. The investigator, who wishes to remain anonymous, told the Post, strange sightings in this area have been made over many years by civilians, military, police, ex-police and scout leaders on patrol. Some incidents have been reported and logged, but others not. Some people just don't want to be classed as mad. The newspaper elaborated further. The strangest rumour has come from a senior local resident who believes the mysterious intruder to be subterranean. He told us the creatures have been there. What? I'll try again. Put your teeth in. The creatures have made their way to the surface via old earthworks to hunt, for example, local deer. And on the surface, the far-fetched tale could have easily been dismissed. However, the Post source added that there has been significant mining activity under Cannock Chase for centuries. We've heard a lot about this Cannock Chase, haven't we?
We have.
And it's a fact there's a high rate of domestic pet disappearances in the area, especially dogs off the lead. Just ask anyone who walks their dog near the German War Cemetery. Needless to say, the tales of wild werewolves on the loose, underground caves, monster-haunted spooky mines, and pets vanishing mysteriously in the woods. There is no chance whatever of the controversial grinding to a halt. Lee Brickley, who has just created a new blog entitled Paranormal Cannock Chase, and which focuses upon the many and varied Mysteries of the area has uncovered further details of man-wolves seen in the area. Lee notes in one particular report a group of 3 teenagers who, while stopping for a cigarette break on a popular car park near the village of Brockton, a place that describes itself as the gateway to Cannock Chase, witnessed the understandably terrifying sight of what they described as an oversized upright wolf rummaging through the litter bin. Luckily, at a distance of around 20 metres, the creature didn't notice them and soon moved on. But those lads have been deeply affected by it nonetheless. Nonetheless, I should say. Is lycanthropy well and truly afoot in central England? Are savage werewolves like beasts widely on the loose? Well, next week, Lee Brickley will be on the show. He is a British ufologist, paranormal researcher, and a cryptozoologist born in the 80s to a working class family in a small English mining town in Staffordshire. And you can read about Lee's complete story on the Weird Saga. I'll put the link on in a moment. Plus, he will be, as I say, he will be our guest next week. So we'll be talking about Cannock Chase and everything else. I'll just put this link on for you. Okay, there you go, and you can read all about it there.
We're talking about that just before we fly off to Romania.
Definitely, because there's supposed to be werewolves over there as well, aren't there, and the like, and what have you. Hi, Nigel, how are you? Hope you're fine.
He's put the chippy order in for us.
Oh, good, that's nice. So I think Lee's still in the chat room there. So he was under Lee B. So he's come in to have a listen to us. And as I say, he will be on the show next week talking about all things spooky from Cannock Chase and also how he got involved into the paranormal and everything. So I was hoping to get him on tonight, but it was a bit short notice for him. And he's coming on next week to talk about it all, and which we're highly grateful for. So we look forward to that and find out more about werewolves and things that go bump in the night around Cannock Chase. Perhaps I don't have to go to Romania to find werewolves. I can just go there. What do you think, Steve?
I'm going to Romania anyway. Yeah.
But will they have vampires there and stuff like that? That's the thing. They've got the werewolves and stuff. I wonder if they are actually upright werewolves and, beasties that are there.
Well, considering lycan are supposed to be humanoid,
yeah,
they should be on 2 feet.
Yeah, unless they say it's some sort of
unless they're actually running fast, but then they go down on 4, won't they?
So it's very intriguing to see whether there is anything there. I think I'd like to go to Cannock Chase actually and explore myself. So Lee fancies a little exploration. I'm sure me and you would be interesting, won't we, Steve, in the summer?
Oh yeah.
See what we can find. Bipeds, said Charlotte, but if they have bikes, they are mopeds. I don't know. The jokes are starting already. We won't be seeing John Savage tonight, unfortunately. He's working late. He's still working from Minnesota, Doc Savage. So, but those who can't make it tonight can listen to it on the replay, can't they, Steve?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So, well, we got to.
Sorry about that. I was slightly distracted.
Oh, was you?
Yeah.
You're watching football again, aren't you?
It's an important game, I'm afraid.
That's the only trouble with Wednesdays, isn't it?
Well, it's not. We don't normally play Wednesday, but it's a game that's been rescheduled. So.
I don't know. Good evening, Reiki Debs. How are you? So
hope you're feeling better
now. So yes. Hello, she says. So next week, as I say, we will be having a very interesting show, and it's just before we fly out to Romania. As I say, for those who've missed it, we've got Lee Brickley coming on to talk about Cannock Chase and all that happens there. And we will also have Tim Brown from Pigs Paranormal Group and from Sussex. And they're going to be talking about their new store now that Tom's Gadget's gone. Very
interesting group, Pigs. They approach an investigation the same way they would a criminal case.
Yeah, because they're ex-police officers, aren't they?
Yeah, the original founders were, yeah.
So So it was nice. We had them on before, and they were going on about how they set it all up like an actual criminal case, and that the spirit is the unsub, isn't it, so to speak, and they do it all that way, don't they?
Yeah.
So very interesting. I'd like to see how they do that somehow, and just see how that would work out. So, but, where's Lee then, Debs? Where's t'other half? Is he coming in? So anyway, we got a few more minutes to spare before we speak to Richard Holland, and hopefully he's sorting his admin out, ironing. Oh right, okay. Where's Mahogany these days? Oh.
He's been very busy at work and other things, and with the kids, of course.
Yeah, so that's the trouble with when you're a one-parent family.
I'm sure he'll join us when we get back from Romania.
Yeah,
come in and say hello to everyone.
Yeah. So, but as I say, we've got an interesting show tonight. Later on, we're talking to Caledonia Paranormal, and I think that's exactly what they call it. Yeah, Caledonia Paranormal. We've got a Skype call with them later on, and there's at least 5 people going to be there. So
that could be interesting, trying to work out who's who.
Yeah, and they're going to be talking about themselves, obviously, and
find out how they do it up in Scotland.
Yeah, they would like to discuss and share their experiences and take part in any discussions on the weekly radio show. They primarily investigate alleged hauntings, well known and otherwise.
It's a lot quieter up in Scotland. They don't do so much public invest like they do down south.
No, they don't.
It's a fairly new thing up there.
Right, Charlotte wants to know who's playing tonight.
That would be Chelsea and Tottenham, Nigel. Whoever wins this will probably be in the Champions League next year. Yeah. For certain, that is.
So, I don't know, Wednesdays. Perhaps we should change it to Sundays. I don't know.
I told you, it's not normally on a Wednesday. Wednesday's normally Champions League and we're not in it.
So, but yeah, so just a few minutes time we'll be contacting Mr. Paranormal himself, as I like to call him. So, because we've had an encounter with Richard Holland. The first time we actually heard from him, it was when he took over Paranormal Magazine, wasn't it? And he contacted us as a team, as UK Shadow Seekers, to
ask us for a bio.
Put a bio into the magazine. So that was when we first encountered Mr. Richard Holland. So what time are we on now?
It was a bit of a surprise for us, wasn't it?
It was a bit.
Because they'd only just come back, because it had been out for a while.
1, 2. Just making sure I've got the mic up ready for the phone call. So, because we have to speak to him on the phone. And we'll give him a call. See whether he's available. Let's see. Hi Richard, are you ready for me? Okay, I'll just put you on hands-free.
Yep, here we go.
Right, good evening Richard.
Hello.
Hi, can I just make sure everyone can hear you in the chat room? Can you let us know what the weather's like where you are?
Not too bad. The sun has just set behind the house opposite, and it's been quite blue and gold.
Blue and gold. Sounds nice. Hopefully, yep, he's sounding clear. That's good. I'll just put this on, then I won't. Right, okay, that's better. Right then, Richard, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Very nice of you to take time out for us.
Not at all.
Okay. Now, for those of you who don't know Richard Holland, Richard was, or rather is, the former editor of Paranormal Magazine. He's also the author of Haunted Wells and 4 other books on Welsh folklore. He also runs his own website, Uncanny UK, which can be found at www.uncannyuk.com. Now, before we start, as I said, for those who don't know, Richard has been associated with the paranormal for many years and has also lectured and broadcast widely on these subjects, appearing as a guest or contributor to many TV and radio programs. And now he joins the KTPF Community Show tonight. As I say, thank you again for agreeing to do this. I'm sure you've been busy with all your projects.
Oh, trying to be, yeah.
I don't know. So, before we start talking about the paranormal as such, can you tell us a little bit about Richard Holland when you put the paranormal to one side, or if you're anything like us, we live and breathe the unknown. But do you ever put it to one side? So who is Richard Holland the man?
Oh, blimey. Slightly overweight. Lives in a small village in North Wales just outside the charmingly named, but much more charmingly town of Mold, which got its odd name through a corruption of the Norman Montalt, who was the guy who was given the place in the Norman days. It's a place I've lived most of my life, actually. I mean, I'm from the Berkshire, Oxfordshire originally, but I came up to North Wales when I was about 10 years old. And then we left the place, so I got very interested in my young adulthood in local sort of folklore and legends and antiquities and things like that. Largely inspired by the books of Janet and Colin Bald, who I think really started turning me on to for sort of the neo-pagan and sort of earth mysteries and all that kind of thing. And this is a very, rich and at the time fairly untapped area. So I think that's where the enthusiasm came from. And then the irony being that Janet and Colin ended up moving to Ruthin, which is the next town on from Mold as you head into Wales. So they live only about less than 10 miles away from me now, which was nice to have got to know them. I mean, my interest to go outside the paranormal to an extent. I mean, but in kind of associated areas, so as I say, folklore and legends and archaeology and antiquities and the countryside and then things like Vietnam pubs and and all of it country bumpkinish really. And I just old books. I collect Victorian and Edwardian magazines when I can afford it. Extensive collection of them. So I also quite enjoy ghost fiction, you see, and particularly sort of golden age, as we call it, sort of macabre fiction, early science fiction, and that sort of thing. I've got great fondness for the sort of literary side of it as well.
Right. Now, you're no stranger to the paranormal phenomena, because I believe you had a childhood encounter with a poltergeist yourself.
Well, that kind of what turned me on to the whole thing, really, I suppose, was. Yeah.
Did this give you a start in life to explore the unknown?
Well,
can you recall the happening and what you did to deal with it?
Well, I didn't really do anything to deal with it, except deal with it. It's a very odd, I mean, I think part of the odd part of the phenomenon looking back on it is just how private it was.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I'm not an enormous fan of the film necessarily, but I was quite struck when I watched The Sixth Sense, and that came out years ago, at the little boy's kind of experience of feeling very isolated, and there was a bit where he sort of creeping to the loo thinking, hopefully there's no more ghosts. And I can remember doing that. I can remember not creeping because it was a very small house. I mean, basically what happened was at the age of, it came in 2 waves, and it started, I suppose, when I was about 11. And it kind of coincided, probably isn't the right word, because I suspect there's a link. But I had quite a lot of, I had 2 fairly major childhood operations at around that time, and I think that may have helped start it. I mean, obviously we have no idea what causes these things.
No.
The one thing I would say, and it may be worse because it's still only completely subjective, but the one thing I would say is I did feel a presence. So, the idea of it being some kind of outpouring of mysterious energy that we don't understand that somehow can come out of some adolescent children, I'm not poo-pooing that at all, but there's no doubt I did feel as if there was something else in the room. and it was kind of getting at me. I mean, you know, it was a very personal thing like that. But mainly what it did was just make noises.
Yeah.
And its raison d'etre really was its standard trick was just tapping on the wall, and he would tap just above my head normally, in a very complicated repeated pattern. And it doesn't sound very frightening, but it kind of was.
Yeah.
And I say part of that was just this charge. You could feel the charge building up before the sounds happened. And it used to, I'd say almost entirely, if you like, audio effects. It would mimic the sounds of people walking about. I mean, you know, people I knew. I mean, in the sense that I can remember on a perfectly ordinary Sunday afternoon, sitting downstairs and hearing my dad walk around in my parents' bedroom wearing, in his shoes, and then suddenly realising he's in the garden, as was, everybody else. And so we do things like that. It mimicked the sound of my older brother running up the stairs, the shadow past cracking the door. My younger brother saw and heard that as well, but it was complete mimic. I mean, he wasn't in the house. And he groaned at me one evening, which was particularly unpleasant. A horrible, horrible sound. It's I think even now I can look back on it and remember that sound. It was kind of angry, but there was sort of this despair in it. I mean, it was just an appalling sound. You can understand why back in sort of the 18th century and stuff, people would believe any of these things were like tormented spirits in hell and stuff like that. I mean, that's kind of how it sounded. And the most notable, I suppose, the most dramatic thing it did, although it wasn't terribly dramatic, was that he pushed me over. I was in and again, it was 6 o'clock in the evening. A family was downstairs watching Nationwide, which dates it. And, I was upstairs and was in the spare bedroom, and I was kneeling down by this spare bed, using it as a kind of table, something laid out on it I was mucking around with. And, I just heard my little brother's, footsteps running from our bedroom across the landing to the room I was in. The door was ajar, and as I just looked up, expecting him to run into the room, the door swung open just as it moved as if he'd reached the door. The door swung open and there was nobody there, but the footsteps continued to where I was kneeling, and then the next thing I knew, I was lying flat on my back on the floor. But I didn't feel any collision.
No.
I was sort of placed gently on my back, although I didn't actually feel any hands touching me either. And, it's really hard. Well, how do you do this stuff like that? And what I did, and I was about 12, I guess, was I got upstairs. I just stood up, got myself off the floor. I just went downstairs and just sat with my family and didn't say anything.
Yeah.
So I had a very, very weird, and it took me a long time. It's interesting, although it's clearly the thing which got me interested. At the same time, it was something which, it's something you can imagine would have put me off, because I couldn't talk about it for years without getting really quite upset.
Yeah.
I'd go cold and I'd go tearful. And I think what it has done to me, I think it's done two things, I think, is that one thing, it means that I know that there is weird stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
That's number one. And number two, also, I think I've got quite good instincts. But, sometimes you meet people and you realise, they really have experienced something weird, because they can suddenly get quite upset.
Yeah.
Even though, if you actually analyse it and say, well, what actually happened, it's like, wow, it wasn't really hurt you, did it?
No.
That's not the point of the unknown and the supernatural. Even people who've seen, or allegedly seen, mysterious beasts in the countryside or something can feel completely creeped out. It's one of those, almost, key factors to a lot of it. And quite a lot of sort of experienced ghost hunters like yourselves, and people like Dan Richmond and people like this, who've gone out and do a lot of, investigating and spend a lot of time in dark houses in the middle of the night, and then something will happen, and it's their shame almost. It will completely freak them out. I mean, Darren, I don't know if you know Darren up in the north-east of England, but when I was in Paranormal Magazine, he told me about a time, when he was investigating this allegedly haunted hotel, and then I think he heard footsteps running towards him.
Yeah.
And instead of standing and investigating, he just ran. He just said, I just panicked. It was just like an absolute animal reaction.
Yeah.
He ran into a wall, I think, and he hurt himself. He was so panic-stricken. So, yeah, I don't know. I think that's the thing. I think to an extent it gives you a bit of an instinct, and he's actually been on the receiving end of it.
Yeah, yeah.
But on the other hand, people ask me, do you believe in ghosts? And especially when I was in Paranormal Magazine. And, I think my response there, and I think I kind of stick to you now, which is, all I will say is I believe, I like to argue that I know for a fact, but I believe that perfectly ordinary people experience completely extraordinary things somewhere in the world virtually every day. And that.
So obviously that attracted you to the supernatural, I take it, So what do you think attracts the other people?
Blimey. There's a lot of people who seem to be, you find this on Twitter, on my Twitter account, that people will add me, and I look to see who they are and what they're about. And there's many of them, saying I'm out there to prove the existence of the supernatural, or a lot of it's to do with spirits, and it's a slightly odd thing, I think, that with the explosion of interest post Most Haunted, is that it's almost becoming a second religion, and I don't mean, or new religion, I should say, not second religion.
Yeah.
Religion. I don't mean like spiritist churches, which of course have been around for a very long time, but I mean just people really absolutely wholeheartedly believing that there are such things as grounded spirits, and all this terminology, and that even demons, and you can almost go an observer's book, I think, almost an observer's book of ghosts and spirits that will tell you exactly what kind of phenomena I'm looking at or experiencing, and it's probably very codified, and people really wholeheartedly believe in all this stuff. And I think there are a number of people out there who are clearly seeking an existence, proof of an existence of an afterlife and things like that. But I don't know. I think you'd be better qualified probably to tell me what makes other people interested in.
Well, I know for me, I'm looking for confirmation, so.
You think you will ever come? Sorry,
I don't know, to be honest with you. I really don't know. No. I've seen stuff, but I do sit back and think, well, did I really see it?
I think that's what's always put me off doing it. I mean, even before, that's one thing people ask themselves, even before long before Paranormal Magazine, because I've also been writing books and talking about the subject long before that. But, people would ask me, have you ever, they used to call them vigils from the time, do you do those things? Are you ever interested in doing those things? And, I always said no, but I never have done, well, I've been on one or two now, but I think there's two reasons for that. One is my own feelings of my own imagination.
Yeah.
And the imagination of anybody else, and, these darkened, usually, aren't they? I mean, usually after dark, empty houses, ordinarily.
Yeah.
And, any of us can imagine anything, and I've got a very, very fertile imagination. And I just don't know how much I would be able to trust my own senses. Also, I think I'd be bloody scared, to be honest. I don't know that's partly the throwback from having the poltergeist experience, but, I'm not very brave about these things.
Yeah, I think that's more it, really. Yeah. So you have been on a couple of paranormal expeditions then?
Only a couple, yeah.
Have you found any proof for yourself on that?
Not proof for myself. I have to be honest that, I haven't even been honest with the bloke whose trip I went on. So this is a bit naughty, really, because but just before, funnily enough, I started doing Paranormal Magazine, literally a few months before, I was invited out to a ghost hunt by a very, very earnest gentleman who's absolutely, totally honest, I'm certain. Well, I wasn't certain at the time, because I'd never met him before.
Yeah.
And he was doing an event in a hotel in North Wales. Not an empty one that is still being used. I think there were a few paying guests, which always makes you slightly, unsure. And I wasn't very impressed with the alleged medium stroke sensitive that they had with them. So I was being a bit dubious, and I was being very much the guest, and keeping my gob shut, and following them around and just waiting to see what would happen.
Yeah.
That was my first experience of it. And one of the first incidents, really, they went into a room which allegedly was haunted, and they asked the spirit, if the spirit was present, to knock if he or she was present and could answer. Knock, I don't know, knock 3 times or just knock, I've forgotten. But anyway, I heard a knock. And what was interesting is that it wasn't dissimilar to the sort of noise the poltergeist used to make. There was something quite distinctive about it, in the sense that it sounded quite, you can't explain it, only if you hear it, it sounded like it was close, and sort of like in the wall above your head, but at the same time it sounded like it was from far away. Very odd thing, and that's what this knock sounded like. And it sounded like it was coming from behind the wardrobe that was in the room. And I must admit, my initial thought was there's someone on the other side of that wall. I didn't like to think that they were, but it just seemed too good to be true.
Yeah.
And the guy was sort of saying, or one of the other guys was saying, you know, has anybody heard anything? And nobody responded at all, and I certainly wasn't going to.
No.
And that was it. As far as that little incident was concerned, and then various other things happened, like they saw an orb on their digital camera, and you know, and all this sort of thing, and got quite excited about that. And they went into another room, and people started seeing strange lights. And that was definitely a case. I'm convinced of sort of people sort of getting a bit carried away, because I think that what it was there were a lot of bits of electronic kit, and there was quite a lot of mirrors in the room. There was a room that the lights were off, of course, but there was mirrored wardrobes, there was a mirror on a dressing table, and I think they picked up. And then you could tell some people were just getting into it, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, the irony is, of course, I'm now certain that there was no one on the other side of that wall, and I don't think anyone heard that knock except me.
No.
So it's actually thinking one day when I see this chap again, I must tell him about that. To be fair, I mean, they had a very exciting experience in another house that they've been doing, where they were convinced that they saw and photographed an actual figure.
Do you think some of it might have been power of suggestion?
I think a lot of it is. I certainly think that was in that room where they were abusing lights. I don't think the knock was in my case, because I was being pretty cynical, really. I was slightly embarrassed and just sort of like, you know, because there is this kind of hushed reverence, and I don't know, I haven't been on enough to know what many are like, and I imagine that there are many run by perhaps more experienced people that have got a totally different tone and atmosphere to the one I went on. But yes, on that particular one, it was all a bit, you know, schoolboyish, I suppose, in a way.
Yeah.
And not that I didn't enjoy myself, but I just, you know, my immediate reaction was, oh yeah, right, I believe that.
Yeah.
And I felt kind of ashamed of it later, certainly having got to know, well, not sort of got to know the guy a little bit better later. I thought, no, I don't believe for a million years that he actually had on that wall.
Is there any of your members in the family that are interested in this subject?
Not really, no. My younger brother also experienced poltergeist on a couple of occasions.
Yeah.
In very mild way. He never really heard any of the tapping or any of that. But there were just a couple of occasions where he was with me when things happened. And he has seen a ghost, an actual proper ghost in front of his face, at the factory where he used to work. He did ask me for news stories earlier if I had any. Actually, it's no bad. I will tell you this one, because it's quite a good one. I haven't really mentioned it to sort of publicly much. It's quite a good story, really. I mean, he's working nights at a factory, sort of sheet metal place in Holland, which is near Broughton Aerospace, which is quite a well-known factory, and it's on the site of a more extensive airfield that was quite busy during the war and this sort of thing. And while he was working, as he'd worked many, many times before on this shift, there was a bloke. He saw this bloke dressed into a blue overall watching them, him and his colleagues on this production line. And he didn't say anything, because obviously you can't see that circumstance a little bit later. And this guy was around for a bit, you know, he saw him, he was working obviously, but on occasions he'd look up and sometimes he'd see this guy still there, in different positions, apparently staring at them. He thought he was like a prime action guy or something, bit, you know, going on, they weren't very happy about. And he mentioned it to somebody, and the guy said, oh bloody hell, you've seen the ghost. And he started talking to other people, and in fact I already knew about this ghost, which he didn't know I did, because apparently it's an airman who crashed and died in the 1940s, I think. His plane just took off and then immediately nosebombed, and he was killed in the wreckage, and his ghost was supposed to be seen around the airfield. And it turns out it was quite well known in the factory, and sometimes he used to see. And he talked to a chap at the factory who probably walked right up to this figure, right up to him, and then suddenly got this terrible case of chills, and sort of backed off, and then the guy wasn't there anymore. But yeah, quite interesting, because Stuart had no idea. Stuart had no idea, and had no idea he had seen a ghost, and didn't really believe it when someone said, "Oh, you seen a ghost?" He thought, "Yeah, right." But and other people sort of chipping in, and then he mentioned to me, and I said, oh my God, I know which one that, I actually know that story, so that's quite an interesting one. But no, not to any other extent. But wildly interested. My father was completely against the whole thing. He'd have been horrified with me editing Paranormal Magazine, actually. He'd have been hugely embarrassed by it. Even over the Humanist Association, all sorts of things. He just absolutely refused to believe in anything outside, basic nuts and bolts, big fan of Richard Dawkins, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, he was completely at it. But, yeah.
Well, I've read somewhere you don't believe in UFOs. So what do you think about the idea that ghosts and UFO sightings might be related?
Well, first of all, I do believe in UFOs.
Oh, you do?
In the sense that I believe in unidentified flying objects. And I've seen them myself.
Yeah.
I think one or two, particularly when I was younger, which interestingly again is almost, we'll get into that because you just asked me that question. But no, I certainly believe, in the same way that I believe in ghostly phenomena, I certainly believe people see weird things in the sky.
Because they do say that sometimes UFO sightings are related to some ghost sightings that are happening outside, when it's out in the open sort of thing. Yeah,
I'm not too sure about that. That would have made a good article, I think.
Yeah.
Paranormal Magazine. What I do know is that the same sort of period, actually that's not really true, I suppose, a couple of years after the poltergeist, I started getting quite keen on UFOs. Well, it was Close Encounters of the Third Kind which did it, as it did for lots of other people. So, we did start watching the skies. Now, whether that means that there's an element of a power suggestion, or was it simply that we were actually looking, and therefore started seeing things, it's hard to say. But what I will say, there was a bit of a flatter, they used to call it, over North Wales, North East Wales certainly, at the time, which I got one really well of until, researching it historically years later. But quite a lot of other people who wouldn't believe in this sort of stuff, parents or friends of mine at school and stuff, they started, saw things as well. So I certainly believe in unexplained aerial phenomena. I'm dubious about alien visitation and alien abduction in its, most clinical science fiction state, as I am about a spirit world. I don't dismiss it because there are, lots of stories that suggest that's the only explanation. In the case of the spirit world, I don't dismiss it, but I'm not, personally quite convinced there, and I don't feel I need to be in a way because I think there's enough weirdness going on.
Yeah.
But I certainly, there's been all that interesting study about Earth light that was carried out by what was his name? What was it now? Come to me a minute. Anyway, all that about Earth lights, which are sort of possibly emanations of some sort of plasma energy or illuminated gas and things like this from the Earth and following fault lines, and certainly they often seem to be tied into some haunted sites, particularly haunted ancient sites. I don't know about UFOs being particularly attracted to haunted sites. I mean, do you? I mean, sort of haunted castles and things like that.
Pardon?
So are you aware of? Well, what is the link that you're aware of then? That there are.
I have heard in general that sometimes people have seen UFO sightings that have been at the same time as they've seen ghosts, and sometimes they think that that's what they're actually seeing. That it's not exactly. They think it's not aliens, it's ghosts, or vice versa.
Right. But they see an apparition. They see an apparition, but they're thinking, well, perhaps it could be alien and it could be a ghost. Yeah. Clearly, any sort of weird, half-seen figure, is how you decide to interpret it. I mean, obviously centuries ago, they'd been calling them fairies. I mean, and certainly with my interest in Welsh folklore, fairy lore and ghost lore are, absolutely interchangeable in you just only have to go back 200 years or so, 300 years, and everybody refers to goblins, or equivalent words, and the goblin could be a ghost, it could be a fairy, it could be anything, it could be a spooky, scary, inexplicable, supernatural entity or happening, is a goblin. And in fact, if you go back into about the earliest records we have of fairies in Britain, there's no argument about it. They are the spirits of the dead.
Yeah, there's also been documented that there have been a lot of creature sightings just after UFO sightings as well.
Yeah, I'm more familiar with that, because I know that there's quite strong Bigfoot UFO links. Janet Ball wrote an article on that particular subject for Paranormal Magazine. Yes, I've heard that that's the growing thing in cryptozoology, people sort of, or if not, or they what they call hotspots, aren't they, where lots of different phenomena seem to occur in a very small area. And yes, I do find that quite interesting. I think, as I say, if you compare kind of what happened to me, although to be fair, it was over a period of 4 years or so, 4 or 5 years, so I don't know how seriously you can take that. But, certainly, as I got older, I did wonder whether the fact that I was experiencing poltergeist activity and then, a couple of years later seeing UFOs, and I generally sort of, the feelings. I was with a friend of mine, and we thought we saw some sort of apparition and some weird stuff going on, in Mold at the time. It makes you wonder, what was for some reason the Mold area just something had made it more psychically active for a period. I mean, that is an intriguing possibility as well. I spoke to a guy years ago who I used to run a shop, and this guy's coming and very down to earth bloke from a little town just up the road, and he was a keen fisherman, and he told me that when he was a young man, he used to go fishing, night fishing down at this lake somewhere. So he said you walk through the woods. He said not scared of the dark. So lots of night fishing, not sort of imaginative or anything like that, or superstitious. So but in this wood, he said, there was this one brief point where, as soon as you stepped into it, you felt terrified. And he said, and I've heard of this with him before, but what he was talking about was so narrow, it was almost like, a few yards around. I mean, you could literally walk into it and go, oh my God, I'm suddenly cutting myself. And then take 2 more steps, you'd be out of it. And then you could step back into it, the same feeling would hit you. That sort of thing is quite interesting too, I think.
Yeah. So, just bear with us, we just lost live stream for a second, we're just getting back in. That's the trouble with Americans, I must admit. So, just bear with me. So, we will get back on.
That's okay.
So just, as I say...
I think what you're doing would be terribly clever anyway, I wouldn't have a clue what you're doing. I wish I was a bit more techno-savvy. I'd quite like to do a YouTube channel, actually. I think that would, just because so many people watch it, I think it's probably quite a good way of promoting yourself.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for it to come back on again.
I just need to find a little camera and work out how to use it.
I must admit it. I'm not that technical, so I'm just waiting for it to give me the camera back again, so I can connect into it. Sorry about this.
No, it's okay.
Oh dear. It's our only medium, I'm afraid.
There we go.
Yes.
Right, we're back.
You're back. You're back.
So, thankfully we can let them know on the chat room. Sorry about that, guys. As I said, live stream does go down on us now and again, so we have to refresh.
The Americans tend to forget that we're on a completely different time.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. So.
Yeah, if we were talking about something like gardening, it would never happen.
Oh,
we were talking about ghosts and UFOs, suddenly all fell off.
So basically, it's when you're working on a shoestring, what else can you do?
Well, quite.
So, Lee Brinkley, I don't know if you've heard of him.
Really?
He said, I suppose the question is, what causes these paranormal portals, hotspots to form? So that's what he's saying.
Who knows? This is the thing, isn't it? You don't know anything.
No, this is the thing. Now, if my memory serves me well, you brought back Paranormal Magazine in 2008.
That's correct.
Yeah. During your time as editor of Paranormal Magazine, you must have heard lots of strange stories from readers and contributors almost daily. Are there any experiences what really impressed you that you personally thought deserved more attention, whether it be UFO related or not?
Oh, blimey. I'm sure there are. I'm trying to remember what they would be now. Bearing in mind I've not been anywhere near that magazine since the end of 2010.
Yes.
There were some good stories. I mean, I think I'm often asked questions like, which stories have you been told, things that really impressed you, or what really convinced you? Well, I don't know that any come along like that, really.
Yeah.
But because it's only second hand anyway. But there's some strong stories, certainly. Letters where I was, really chuffed when they sort of turned up in the inbox or in an envelope. And there was one chap who was an Indian corner shop owner somewhere in the Midlands, I think. I apologize if I got this wrong. But somewhere fairly ordinary, suburban, red brick kind of place. And their shop just became, insanely haunted by all sorts of weird things. The most dramatic of which was the sitting dead eye that just kept staring at them through cracks in the wall and things. I have heard of one other case similar to that of a pretty normal human eye staring through this knot in the woodwork, and they did. If I'd been primed, I'd have had a good riffle through the magazines and gone, oh yes, remember this one, and there was also this one.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I tended to get more sort of ghosty type letters and UFO type letters.
Yeah.
We did tend to specialise as well. We tend to emphasise ghost a bit more, which is obviously partly just because it's me and I was editing it and it was what I was interested in. But we were also aware, of course, that there has been the earlier incarnation of the magazine, which has been much more sort of ghost hunting, almost exclusively, I think.
May I ask why you left, or is that a personal reason?
No, I didn't leave through choice. It wasn't making very much money.
Yeah.
It was a bit grim, really, because I was constantly being assured that it wasn't doing brilliantly, but it was okay, and it wasn't losing any money, and they were still committed to it. And then suddenly they weren't. The publishers were talking about that, because it was a salaried job. I mean, I wasn't instrumental in setting it up or anything. It was completely, amazingly fell in my lap. But then, I was dubious for a long time. I mean, I don't want to be too hard on them, but it was particularly depressing that as a professional editor, which is and journalist, which is what I am, rather than just some bloke who knew about ghosts who got the job, that's something that I think is because when you get some of these specialist publication publishers, who they tend to employ people who know a lot about the subject but haven't got necessarily any sort of journalistic skills specifically. And that's certainly how this particular publishing company had run up until me turning up. And so having someone just up the road who clearly had an interest in the subject, but also, had been a journalist at quite a senior level once upon a time, it was like, oh, okay, brilliant. Well, and also me and the publishers' attitude as to what we felt the magazine could and should be, absolutely tallied. I mean, that was the nice thing, is that, I didn't have to fight for anything because me and Dave Gamble, the publisher, had exactly the same attitude as to what the magazine we wanted to see on the shelf. Unfortunately, I think we were both wrong, because it didn't clearly thrive as well as it might. But, nevertheless, there was harmony there. And I think that he was the buffer between me and the managing director. And the shame was they never approached me and said, look, Richard, to be honest, it is losing money, and I'm going to get fed up with it. And talk to me about it, because there were things I could have said, which I think might have convinced them either to keep it on as it was, because I was willing to get more and more appreciation, if you like, or certainly commentary coming from America and from Australia. So it was beginning to be found there. The very next issue, which never got published, was going to have an article in it by the guy who runs far and away the biggest visited website of its kind in the world, which is ghostvillage.com. Which, and I think he'd have probably mentioned it on his enormous website. Yeah. So, that would have found new readers. And so I think if it was losing very little money, and I still believe that's the case, then that might have been the tipping point. But also, we could have gone down to 6 issues a year. Now that would have meant my salary would have been half. And I would have had to have found some way of earning extra money, and I'd have had to have gone back to doing the corporate copywriting, which is what I used to. But I'd have been prepared to do it if it would have saved the magazine.
We've got Nigel in the chat room. He's asking whether you think the internet has a bad effect on magazine sales.
Yes, I think it must.
There's a lot of internet magazines now, like there's Phenomena magazine, which you write for as well.
I do.
Friend of ours, Steve Mehra.
Sorry, say again?
Mutual friend, Steve Mehra.
Yes, I mean, I've temporarily halted that just because, since being, I'm not ashamed to tell you, I mean, since being made redundant from Jazz Publishing, I've been finding it very difficult, to get decent work again. In this economic climate. And I think I should say, in fairness, and I think part of the magazine's malaise was the economic climate. I mean, they launched it in July 2008, and the recession kicked off September 2008.
Yeah.
And of course, it just got worse and worse, and that didn't help. And they didn't spend. My one big criticism in their direction is that they spent neither time nor money on promoting it. They just seemed to think people would find it.
Yeah.
I don't think they would have done, but they were finding it. And as I say, I begin to get more and more response, more and more interest from America, which obviously is a huge market once you tapped it. And there were some digital versions of it, so but yeah, I think that's the thing. Either you spend, it's a very expensive thing to produce a magazine, and it's an expensive product, and either you're completely behind it and you've budgeted to make sure people know it's there, as you would with any other expensive product, or you're going for the long haul.
Yeah.
And obviously they weren't for the long haul, as it turned out. I think it was 30 issues in the end. So, but yeah, I think it is difficult. I mean, one thing I've been looking at, someone was encouraging me when I first left Jazz, was strongly encouraging me to set up an easy.
Yeah.
Something that would actually look like a magazine that you turn the pages on and read on your fancy bits of kit, which I don't own. But rather than just a website, rather than just Uncanny UK, I mean something that would look and be a proper sort of digital magazine. But I think the problem, and it's a great thing really, is that nobody wants to pay for anything on the internet.
No, this is it.
And that's what's magical about the internet, also its curse.
Yeah.
Because I have been, dipping my big toe in producing print on demand and digital books, and I have dipped my big toe in producing iPhone and Android phone apps. I've been trying to explore these wonderful new bits of technology because they're there.
Yeah.
But it is really hard. I mean, the trouble is, and the apps, for example, is very similar to the problem that the magazine had, which is, you've got, even in like a small W.H. Smith that we have here in Melbourne, the amount of magazines that are packed on the shelves, if you don't know it's there, you're not going to find it, unless you're lucky. And it's the same with apps. You can put the keywords in and hope that people search keywords and find them, but, it's such a huge, there's just so many apps available. Nothing quite like what I was doing.
No.
Nevertheless, there's just so many apps, and so many of them are free. So you think, well, and so even £1.50 looks expensive. And that's what gets difficult. So I mean, obviously now, sort of, 2+ years down the line, I begin to think, well, I should have done some sort of easy. But I don't think Steve is really making any money out of Phenomena. I would be surprised if he was. He might be. Which would be great if he was, because there must be a reason to do it. I think I know he has plans, tentative plans anyway, to see if he can do more with it and make it more commercial. I know, I think he's discussing with various people, it's not something I know anything about, so I have just contributed some articles in the past, and that's my only involvement really with Phenomena. But it's hard, isn't it? I mean, you have to spend an awful lot of time hopefully getting a very, very successful website, and then selling some advertising on it. But I just don't think, and this is also a problem with the magazine, which a problem I knew existed before I took the job, and I made it clear in my interview. I said, if you're going to think part of your model is you're going to make money out of advertising, forget it, and I won't come here and leave my business to do this job, because you won't, because there is no money really to be made out of the paranormal unless you're a big alleged medium who charges people a lot of money to turn up in town halls, But I mean, it's not really a platform for which there is obvious advertising, is there? No. I just think that, unfortunately, I think it's doing as a hobby or not at all. But I don't know. It's still early days in some ways in terms of things like ebooks.
We have another question in the chat room for you. Ghost Rider would like to know what is your views on crop circles and the animal mutilations?
Ooh, blimey. You obviously that, yes. Crop circles, you know, I have to trust and believe now that crop circles are made by blokes in fields.
Yeah.
But I still find it hard to believe.
How the hell do they do
I
it?
still find it hard to believe. I'm one of these sort of intriguing things which has never really sort of come out from this.
Yeah.
I cannot believe that they're doing it without the complicity of the farmer.
Mm.
You know, because they're vast, aren't they, these crop circles?
I know.
So I just don't believe that.
It's that bit that confuses you, isn't it, really?
And some of them overlook roads, or even in the middle of the night. You know, you're going to see something, like people moving about. You're going to see little glimmers of light from, you know, I don't know if you all those up, but they're focusing devices. I think it's almost supernatural what they do, even if it isn't supernatural.
Yeah.
As for animal mutilation, that is that much weirder and stranger and more inexplicable. And I don't know what I think about them, other than the fact that they still seem to be happening. And the only danger, and I'm not saying this is the explanation, but the only danger is that when things become so well known, become so much part of you know, popular culture, like alien abduction would be an example, there's always a danger you're going to get someone, even in an isolated community, or perhaps even more so in an isolated community, because they're so bored and possibly even a bit weird, who decide they're going to do something, you know, a bit nasty to confuse and cause a stir. And that might possibly be an explanation for some cattle mutilations where, you know, some local has gone out there and actually...
Yeah.
But I don't know, because when you hear about things being drained with blood and all the rest
Well, this is it.
but it's difficult, because I think that when something like that initially happens, and there's no explanation, that's one thing. But I think when it's been going on off and on for decades, you have to then think, well, you know, can you know, it's a recognised pattern of phenomenon, and therefore are people faking it? You know, but I don't know. They're certainly very unpleasant and very, very peculiar and unpleasant events when they happen. And I mean, but again, you can't really think, well, unless these aliens are coming down because they have a particular taste for cows' upper lip, or whatever bits they nip bits of, you know, there's this tiny sort of, so you know, you think, well, unless they are, unless there's some delicatessen somewhere, so occasionally they serve up, you know, terrestrial beef nip, you just think, why are they doing it? That's the other thing, you can't, you know, even if they were sort of actual sentient, highly advanced beings, as they presumably must be to be able to, you know, why would they be doing that? And that's one of the big things about the whole alien world, if you like, you know, the whole ufology.
Yeah.
Not that we should expect them to behave as we would behave, obviously, because they're alien. But you also think, well, why come all this way and then do the strange things they seem to do, you know?
Yeah. Well, from what Nigel just put in the chat room, it made me think that maybe the patterns we're seeing are actually the pattern that's on the bottom of the spaceship when it lands.
It is the crop circles now, presumably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Mechas have got very, very elaborate. They could be like kids who, you know, pimp up their spaceships and then come on joyrides to Earth, where they're not supposed to come because we're like closed and forbidden. And they've got all the different, their forces have got different fancy patterns on them.
Yeah.
So they are, that would have to be the only explanation because there's an awful lot of variety of patterns, isn't there?
Yeah, well, this is it. Right, I need to ask you a couple of viewpoint questions.
Okay.
Okay. First of all, I read today, whilst I was looking for some observations, that there's a recent theory that we are three-dimensional beings and spirits are only two-dimensional. And this is the reason why we can't interact with them with our gadgets, you know, the EMF meters and stuff. What do you think? Are we making progress? And if not, how can we?
Blimey. No, unfortunately, the whole sort of ghost hunting aspect, you're much more qualified to talk about that than I am, really. I quite like the idea of spirits being two-dimensional, because that's especially that Simpsons episode, when they first introduced 3D animation, and Homer Simpson falls through a crack and then comes out in a 3D world. That would suggest, yes, that our spirits are actually basically drawings. But I think that I am intrigued by the idea with how it's becoming part of quantum physics and all the rest of it. It's the interdimensional world. I mean, it's a universe, I should say. Is that I certainly can conceive that much of the stuff that fascinates and continues to confuse us are simply, I mean, they used to talk about things working on a different vibration. Do you remember that? That was Victorian Edwardian. They were on a higher vibration than us. Now, it's another kind of meaningless phrase, but it kind of says the same thing, that somehow we're sort of only part of the same world and not quite. We're obliquely part of the same world. I quite like that idea, and I'm quite into the idea of Easter as well, which is totally out of fashion. But then I talk about dark matter. Well, what the bloody hell is that? I mean, that could be what the old spiritualists used to refer to as Easter, because it is an invisible and currently unrecordable medium, which will pardon the possible pun there, medium through which these phenomena manifest, and they could be things that are coming from a different dimension. Certainly, what is a spirit? I mean, and where does it reside within us? And it is exactly the same shape as us, running through our bodies. It's just a blob in our brains. It is the aura that some people are saying. We haven't even started to scratch the surface. And whether we're making any progress, I mean, since you say something like that, that's why gadgets don't work. Well, I mean, I have to say, I suspect strongly it's because the gadgets just have never worked.
No.
They are irrelevant. The one thing about the EMF meters, I have to say, is that with all the sort of the science and explanations as to why they don't work, why they're not relevant, why people started using them as a mistake because of misunderstanding. I mean, people like Steve Parsons at Power Science, who are able to trace this right back and say, it was some guy, and I apologise for getting who it was, some guy said this about electromagnetic fields, and someone then decided to link that to EMF meters, who actually can't even detect those kind of electromagnetic fields. People started using them. But the fun thing, of course, is that a lot of perfectly intelligent people have seen correlation between perhaps cold spots or between seeing something and the EMF meter going off, or even the EMF meter just going off, and there's no apparent explanation for it. You're in a ruined castle where there are no wires, never have been, etc., etc. So it makes it one of those happy accidents. The EMF meter shouldn't work at all.
No.
And yet people are getting odd effects from them. So perhaps they are picking up something.
Yeah.
And perhaps that, obliquely will lead towards something. But if those are happy accidents, because really, truly, they shouldn't really have any place, go something. But it could be something like that. And let's face it, in any science, and I don't think currently ghost hunting is a science, but in any sort of discipline, I would agree with that, if you do it properly.
Yeah.
But in any sort of discipline or any science, it's often the accident, isn't it? I mean, everybody, the classic one is discovering penicillin, which I think is slightly a legend anyway. But of the fact he actually left the petri dish unsealed and then found the mold growing on it and realised it killed the bacteria. And that's how Alexander Fleming discovered penicillin. Someone just discovered it a few years previously. It always gets overlooked. But these happy accidents are often what leads towards an explanation, and that's still a possibility. I suppose that's the one thing that must be said for people like yourselves who are so dedicated and keep going out there and getting extremely chilly and trying to be rational in a very in a scenario in which I think anyone's imagination is liable to run away. But yeah, I mean, something might happen. You might stumble upon something. I mean, it could have been all important, but it could have been.
Do you feel the terminologies of ghosts and spirits, etc., are outdated and in need of revising?
I think they need looking at. I think that I'm a bit concerned, as I hinted at earlier, of the way the terminology is just becoming, or the fact that there is any terminology even really, because it's kind of creating a false sense of understanding. It's almost like you can compartmentalise certain kinds of phenomena, not just a phenomena. I think you can compartmentalise, what you see, what you experience, what you feel. I mean, we've been talking about poltergeist. Well, poltergeist can be a whole range of different phenomena, but we kind of understand what we're talking about when we mention a poltergeist, because they do tend to follow certain patterns. And I think that, to an extent, that's perfectly okay. But you can talk about, a ball of light. I saw a ball of light. You can say, I saw, I think you talk about full figure apparitions, don't you? But yeah, I saw, a human shaped figure. You can talk about things like that, but I think when you start talking about grounded spirit, that must be a grounded spirit, or that must be an elemental.
Yeah.
That I'm very I get concerned about that.
Right.
And in fact, even people who I'm surprised to see doing it in a way. I'm not going to mention any names. There's one guy who, I've got a lot of respect for, and who was, although I don't know really personally, but I have met him, but we're not friends or anything. But I do feel he's one of the guys who is quite careful. But I saw him cracking on about elementals, and I just thought, you don't know, you don't know what you're talking about there. It's a nice idea, this idea of some sort of primal whatever. But what does that actually mean? The point is, they set a phenomena which you have either been told about or have personally experienced. You can't really say any more than that. No. Truthfully. Yes, I think it's okay when you see a woman in Elizabethan costume walking, a couple of feet below the ground, and disappearing through a bricked up doorway. It's not all unreasonable to say, well, that looked like almost like, a playback from the past.
Yeah.
She was walking at the original floor level, possibly, and she definitely went through a doorway which no longer exists. But you don't know that's what you saw.
No.
You know what I mean?
So what would your advice be to people that, if they think they're living in a house which may be haunted, or even have a poltergeist, what would your advice be to them?
Enjoy it if you can. If it's really creeping you out, I still don't know what to do. I mean, certain mutual friends and things will go off and they will investigate. That's something that I was always, again, a bit iffy about when I see people say, we're here to help. But no, you're not, because what are you going to do? Unless you're an exorcist.
Yeah. And
they don't usually work. I mean, people can bring in priests to bless houses if that's their belief.
Yeah.
A Catholic household, probably one of the first things they would do is call in their priest. But as you know from the literature, not only does it not work, usually, it can actually make things worse, for whatever reason. Again, the first ever issue of Paranormal Magazine I did had interviews with Church of England exorcists, which we tend to forget, exist, and they are as numerous as Catholic exorcists, amazingly. Even they were admitting they were having mixed fortunes when they were called into a place where something was going on. I don't know there's very much you can do, except I think the key thing, possibly, that might work, if it's a scary haunting, if it's something which is upsetting you, is to shout at it.
Yeah.
And I think it's very significant. Okay, I was only a kid, but why didn't I? I know my dad would have been really bloody.
Yeah.
But why didn't I tell my mum what was going on until the second time it came round, which was like after a gap of about 10 months. And by that time, friends had sort of encountered it. My younger brother was on board with it because he'd encountered it. And she didn't believe in it, I have to say. She didn't believe in it, but she was sensible enough to realise that we had come to believe in it. And now she does believe in it because I'm an adult, so I'm telling her, no, this really did happen. But the point is, what made me keep it? And I think there's an element to it where people get very enclosed and feel quite victimised. I think there's something about the atmosphere and the thing which is very, very disturbing. And I think the best thing might be to just stand up to it. There are some good cases from the past. John Wesley's famous poltergeist is one of those, where they just bashed pots and pans and shouted back at the thing, and it went away. And going, in places like Tibet, they'll go along and they'll bash cans and things, and they make all this noise, and they're warding off demons, and it seems terribly primitive. But hey, who knows if it works? Certainly, I do wonder sometimes whether there is almost a need, some almost complicity for it to, and a lot of it is probably psychological. A lot of it is, what's the word, the phrase you used earlier, auto-suggestion or whatever it might be, and you just get too locked up in it. And I think that try and treat it as best you can like a natural phenomenon.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you don't really know. You don't know what to do about it. But in the case of a poltergeist, at least you've got the reasonable likelihood it will bugger off.
Yeah.
It might be horrible for 10 months, and wreck your house,
Yeah.
eventually it's going to go away, because they always do. Always do. That's one of the key things with poltergeist. If there's a nasty presence in the house, that's much more difficult. And I think that just trying not to be scared of it and talking openly about it with as much humour as you can. Diffuse the fear and the anxiety as much as you can. And talk about it. And don't be afraid of... People are much more open now than they used to be. So you talk about it at work.
Yeah.
Talk about it. Don't... I mean, don't let it become... It is very easy. I do it myself, I mean, not for a while perhaps, but I mean, I ended up telling ghost stories or, telling stuff like, I knew about years ago in my old house I had lived in probably at that point for 8 years. With absolutely nothing spooky ever happening in that house. It was built in 1906. Nothing ever spooky had ever happened in it. I, had an evening where I became, kind of centre of attention, telling all my ghostly knowledge to people and creeping them out, blah, blah, blah. They all went away. And I crapped myself. And I suddenly got the fright. So it's like, well, in a house I lived in for 8 years and nothing happening. It's very easy to do. I mean, and I think if we're going to be honest, I think part of the attraction for people like you and me is that bit of,
Yeah.
I know. The point is we don't really have any solutions to anything, and that would be my only is don't let it get you. Try to avoid becoming too frightened of it, and I think the only way to do that is to talk about it openly in a good humoured, treat it as something which one day you'll be able to talk about as a dinner party story. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. Well, when did you actually start your website, Uncanny UK, and can readers contact you if they have a story to tell?
They can indeed. Yeah. I started it, fun enough, before I started Paranormal Magazine. I started it a long time ago, but it wasn't very. It's the guy who was supposed to be building me the website spent absolutely forever over it, and it had 2 false dawns basically. I eventually got really fed up with this bloke and said, no, this isn't working. It wasn't content managed, so I couldn't upload my own stories, and he'd hang on to them for a week and then eventually get around to uploading. It just wasn't working at all.
Yeah.
So I got in touch with someone else, and upset the other bloke enormously, but I found this other guy and said, look, I need, and he said, well, I'll build you this quick WordPress site, it'll be grand. And he was actually working for Jazz Publishing, and that's how I found out about Paranormal Magazine.
Yeah.
One of those weird things. So he built a new version of Uncanny UK, which was much better, but then literally, within a couple of months, I was working for Paranormal Magazine, and there was a bit of a conflict of interest. So I didn't kill it off. I refused to kill it off, but I updated it not that often. And then Paranormal Magazine ended, and then I got someone else in to revamp it again and make it that much better. And I put a lot of effort in then in trying to update it at least once a week, and which I'm being completely rubbish about again. I haven't really updated it nearly as often as I'm supposed to. But it's quite a big site now. There's quite a lot of material on there now, but, because it has been running for a few years, and certainly, for a good solid year, I just, or 2 years actually, I just added stuff to it. I'm always interested in people's own personal experiences. I've had some good ones that come in. It's worth, looking at the comments and things. And I have a blog attached to it as well, on which I will also add readers' experiences if they've come to me via comments, because they're not necessarily always easy to find. What I don't really want are sort of investigation reports or anything like that. That is really what the site's about. But people's personal experiences, ghosts they might have had in their house or a ghost they've seen somewhere, that sort of thing. It's very much ghosts and folklore in Britain as well. So again, it has to be, the British Isles. That's kind of the point of it. UFOs I don't touch on really. I don't really consider that folklore. You could argue that it is now modern folklore, but so UFOs I tend to leave out of it. But cryptozoology is fine. Because it often does tie into British folklore. So fighting for strange animals. That kind of thing is fine. And if anybody's got an interest in writing about aspects of ghosts or folklore or ghosts in their own local area or anything like that, I'm very, very welcome indeed.
Okay.
I'll give you an email address if I may.
Okay.
I won't give you the usual one because I think something's gone funny with the account. I'm going to probably a quick fix, but normally I give out the uncannyuk.com email account, but it is just frozen up. So if people want to email me on Richard Simon Holland.
Richard Simon Holland?
Yep.
Okay.
At BT, I'm afraid, internet.com.
Is it wrong with BT?
I know. What a fool. Richard Simon Holland at btinternet.com. That'll definitely get me. But, I mean, you can obviously contact me through the website, either using the email link on the website or through comments and things. And I'm on Facebook and I'm on Twitter and I'm fairly easy to find.
So what's next for Richard Holland? Are there any forthcoming books?
There are. I'm not getting paid very much for them, unfortunately. But I got contacted by somebody who was project managing a series of little regional ghost books. As if we need any more. Apparently we do. So I said, fine, great, I'll do those. So I've done another little North Wales one, another South Wales one, which should be coming out very soon. Both of those. And also a Cheshire one, which is slightly outside my usual patch, which is quite good because I live very close to Chester, which is a very haunted city. So there's about 40% of the book, I guess, is devoted to Chester, and the rest is haunted sites around the county of Cheshire. I mean, they're really small, stocking filler type, casual pick-up books for visitors, really, rather than in-depth stuff. I mean, certainly the two Wales ones don't really impinge greatly on my Haunted Wales book, which I feel proud of because that was a real effort to find lots and lots of old stories and put them in. But there should be some more. I'm supposed to be being commissioned for 4 more, and I'm working on a little book on ghost cats, but I'm probably going to self-publish that. And I've also got a self-published book. Well, I've got a couple. I've got one of haunted sites in London, which that was self-published. And I think that's an ebook only, actually, that one. And another one called The Horror of Gibb Farm, which I recommend people to check out because it's a collection of allegedly true ghost encounters, mainly told first-hand to the original author, which aren't very well known at all. I mean, they're some cracking stories. I mean, really dramatic, scary stories. But because they were buried in works of theology in the 19th century, hasn't really been picked up on. So I, at some extent, I may say, tracked down the 4 volumes of books by this old vicar of Lambeth to get hold of these quite rare books and went through them and waded through all his theology and then just plucked out the ghost stories which he put in there as, my parishioners told me this and told me that and all the rest of it. And some of them are absolutely cracking. So that's I'd like to plug that because I think that's good.
Yeah.
I'd like people to know more about it.
That's great. Well, Richard, thank you very much again for talking to us.
Thank you.
If you have anything up and coming, please email me and I'll be willing to happily put it out over the KTPF.
Thank you very much.
Which, in case you don't know, stands for Keeping the Paranormal Friendly.
Yeah. Yes, I like
we try.
Just to show, I expected these books to be out by now, so I'm going to probably do another, giving you a link to where to purchase them, but they're dragging their feet a bit, but I think for the next couple of weeks they should be on the shelves.
Right, okay. And I'd also like to thank you again for considering us and using UK Shadow Seekers back when you first started with Paranormal Magazine.
Yes,
it was an honour.
I've done more with the local ghost hunting groups, but sometimes it's quite difficult getting people to send in their reports. But
thank you for choosing us anyway.
Oh gosh, it's fine. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much for talking to me.
Well, thank you very much, and as I say, I hope to speak to you again soon sometime.
Lovely.
Okay, don't be a stranger. Good night.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was Richard Holland. Quite an in-depth talk there with the guy. I hope you enjoyed it. And sorry about the break in connection earlier. It's live stream again, so please remember that if it does go down again, we will be back as soon as we can. It's just a case that it loses connection for some reason.
You got lost, maybe.
I did actually, because I got a message for some reason. I don't know what the hell that was all about. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a small break now while we have words from our sponsors. So and then we're going to come back with our next guest. Thank you.
And now here's a word from our sponsor.
Finally, the #1 weight loss and fitness challenge in North America is coming to the UK. Don't miss your chance to be the first Brits to be a part of it. Be honest, right now you probably want to lose some weight, live a healthier, more active lifestyle, or get in better shape. We're here to challenge you to make your health a priority with the new Body by Vi 90-day challenge.
My favorite thing about the challenge was just losing the weight. Got my life back, that's it.
Now we've gone from being couch potatoes to being, fit athletes, working out, strength training every single day. It's changed our whole lifestyle.
Let's be real. You don't have to look far to see we have a problem. A growing problem. With today's work demands and faster-paced lifestyle driving us toward quick fixes, it's no secret how we got here. Finally, something that's simple, affordable, fun, tastes amazing, and most importantly, it works. The Body by Vi Challenge is the solution you've been searching for. The challenge is North America's #1 90-day platform for weight loss and fitness results. To date, over 500 million Vi shakes have been served to millions of people who have already lost millions of pounds, making the challenge the fastest growing weight loss and fitness movement in North America today. Powered by a line of innovative wellness products from Vi, the Body by Vi Challenge is coming to the UK. The perfect way to start a lasting health transformation. And by simply selecting a kit, you have access to all the resources you need to succeed. So, set your goal, select your kit, enter to win. Be the first in the UK to be on the challenge. There is no better time than now to start making your health a priority. So why not start losing weight, getting fit, saving money, and having fun? Guaranteed. Are you up for the new Body by Vi Challenge?
The one phone call that I made to try to join the challenge to lose weight has changed every aspect of our life.
Yeah, welcome back to the show. That was a word from our sponsors. Andy says it makes him laugh. But it's got to be done. Yes, sorry. Otherwise, we will not be here every week. So, it all helps. So hopefully you can bear with it for a couple of minutes.
Well, we would be here every week. It just makes it easier.
Very American. Oh, yeah, of course it is. Of course it is. Well, we're going to pays for live stream. Yes, it does. No, not live stream. Pays for our server.
That pays for all the servers.
If it paid for live stream, God, it would be enough. But anyway, so welcome, Andy. Nice to see you. Hope you're well. And anybody else who's joined us during that, can I call you? What's your number? Not as yet. Later on show. So all to know. But as I say, we're gonna contact our next guest. 2 seconds to see if they're ready. Hopefully they are. It was an interesting conversation though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I must admit, he's a very nice man, Richard Holland. And let me just answer this. 2 seconds. I've got John Blackburn texting me.
Yeah, I think we have somebody from Caledonia Paranormal as well.
Do we in the?
What is it?
Hello, CPIT. CPIT. Is that you or the Frasmaster?
Welcome anyway.
Who's CPIT? Yes. Are you ready? This is what we'd like to know. I'm going to try and ring them, see what happens. Let me just let's get this sorted out. Yes, we are. Woohoo! Right, we're going to give him a call. Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, you need to turn your speaker down for the show, or stop the show for us. All right.
Okay.
So.
How's that?
Yeah, that's all right. Otherwise, we get a reverb. How are you all?
We're well. Thank you. How are you?
We've got a house full.
Yeah. Yes. Full team. Almost.
Nearly full team. Right, okay. Let's see. I've got Scott Leckie.
That's me.
Stephen Conlin.
Hello.
Tracy McCartney.
Hi there.
Stephen Shaw.
Hi.
Janet Sinclair.
Hi.
Anybody else?
No.
Okay. Right, and you all make up?
The Caledonia Paranormal Investigation Team.
Right, well, welcome to the show. Can everybody hear him in the hub? Okay.
Yes, you think, yeah.
So, hopefully everything's okay there. Good. Right, okay. Who are the Caledonian Paranormal Team? How long have you been going?
We've been going for 4 years now.
Uh-huh. And you're based in Airdrie?
Yeah, based in Airdrie, North Lanarkshire, yes.
Uh-huh.
And Coatbridge as well.
And where? Kilbride?
Coatbridge.
Oh, Coatbridge.
Lovely.
Don't know where I got Kilbride from.
Well, it's Scottish.
It's Scottish. It's somewhere there. So, you've been going for 4 years. What got you involved in all this? What made you decide to do this?
Well, it was me and my brother. We took an interest from a small age, and one night we just got chatting. And from there, we decided to investigate graveyards, and we had nothing at the time. We started off with our iPhone camera and a dictaphone, and ever since we get hooked in, and now we've got a lot of equipment. It's a great hobby to be in.
Right.
I get involved basically through Stevie. We met him in a pub, believe it or not.
Right, long time ago.
And we'd known him for quite a while, but we'd never really spoke about the paranormal with him. And just one night we got talking about it, and he says, "Well, I happen to do this.
Mm-hmm.
I happen to do investigating." And we're like, "Really?" And he said, "You should come along one night and see what it's like." And that was kind of our gateway into, becoming part of the team and investigations. Tracy, myself.
Yep.
Okay. So, and you've got a medium called Colin Jarrett.
We do, yes.
Yes, and unfortunately Colin's at a special church meeting tonight, so you can't be with us tonight, unfortunately.
And you also got a photographer lead investigator who's working called Andy Ferguson.
Yes, who just happens to be the Fraz master you spoke to in chat as well.
Ah, right.
And is here in spirit as such. Unfortunately, Andy's working down your area at the moment in England with a company. He's about and about England and driving about, so unfortunately he's in the chat, so you can say hello to Andy, who's the Fraz master himself.
Hi, Andy.
Yeah, he just talks. That's me.
Hi, Andy.
That's me.
So, with Scotland, I find that it's not as popular, or it's not as well known as it is in England. They're doing it all over England, but with Scotland, there's very rarely any places that you hear of, isn't there?
There's not many groups.
There's not many groups up there.
I think there's more kind of coming out now, I think, but I think you're right. At one point we were one of the few groups that were around, but you're hearing more and more groups kind of cropping up now.
We started out, we were the only team in our area. Now there's about 3 or 4 of them now.
Yeah.
So, like I say, it's a close-knit community. We know everyone, and we know what kind of locations they're doing that, which is quite good, and we like to share a lot of stuff.
I think because as well it's quite a taboo thing to be involved in, and people kind of scoff a lot at it, and I don't like to admit their interest and pursue it in any way. But we kind of laugh at that. We do our own thing, and just pursue our own interest in it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. Okay. Now, basically, as I say, that down here in Manchester and in England, so to speak, it sounds weird. It sounds like we're talking to America again, doesn't it? Somewhere.
Sure, man.
In England, we've heard of the places like Castle Menzies and Inverary Jail, and obviously Edinburgh Vaults, but there's not many
we don't hear much.
We don't hear much about other places. They're just the main ones, aren't they?
Yeah, that's the main ones have been most noted on TV programmes, like most haunted about feeling and whatever else. But there are other locations in Scotland are getting notability and notoriety about them slowly but surely.
Yeah, and there also is, local places that we've became aware of that, through local folklore and tales, like pubs and things that have been here for a couple of 100 years. So, these things that we're trying to put out there in the webisodes that we make and the evidence that we catch on these locations.
But I've just been told that Frasmaster's in Manchester, so maybe he should get his backside over here and get in the hub.
I don't know if you want that
That'd be good, wouldn't it, if he turned up? So, it would be good if he could turn up, wouldn't it?
Be careful what you wish for, you mate.
Okay, let's see what happens here, shall we? Here we go. Oh, let me spell it
also,
right.
you want his Andy's backside shown on camera.
Have you got sat-nav, Frasmaster?
He's got an ace iPhone, he's got it.
Oh, dear me. Oh, let's see what happens.
Yes.
Let's just see what happens. Will I get a knock on the door soon?
That's Miss McLean show to dirty show.
Let's see, he said. Whereabouts in Manchester are you, Frasmaster?
Andy, don't even think about it.
God, this is definitely live, isn't it?
Online, he is. There he is. He's in Manchester online.
Yeah, he's in Manchester online. He can come here. He's in 4 dots, wherever 4 dots is.
He doesn't know.
Yeah, I don't think he knows himself. But as I say, so you've been going 4 years. What places do you actually rate up there that you think are really good?
Castle Menzies was a kind of, like, I think the biggest location I've been to so far, and I think we're going back there again. But Provenhall House, just outside Easterhouse, we've been there a few times, and there's really, that place is kind of steeped in history and
15th, 16th century,
15th, 16th century, and we've caught a lot of
solid evidence,
kind of solid evidence there. We were there just last week, and we caught some auditory evidence as well, some EVPs, and so we're really excited every time we go there, and that's kind of like relatively unheard of, but a kind of a gem of the paranormal locations.
Yeah, we definitely recommend it to any teams from England thinking about it.
Because it's like you say, it's one of the oldest buildings in Glasgow. It's over 500 years old, and the history of the place is amazing. The guy who sent
Scots, Covenanters, it's all.
The guy who sent the last SOS in the Titanic moved there in the 1900s, so it's got a lot of great history with the place, and it's got a bloody past as well, with a evil spirit I should not name.
He would have been named.
Who's been attached to me for 4 years.
Yeah.
So it's a highly recommended place.
And also an upcoming investigation we have in Abbott House in
Dunfermline.
We've got that on the 7th of June. We went there to kind of scout the location a couple of months ago, and we kind of experienced a lot there during the day, so we're really excited about that. There's a lot of history in Abbott House as well.
Yeah, William Moss's mother's buried in the graveyard outside, and
Robert Bruce is actually interned inside Dunfermline Cathedral Abbey. Well, there's a lot of history linked to the area,
and they have had rumoured activity there as well. They've had a chair move across the room, which a guy who was actually taking a tour round at the time witnessed in front of the tour, and the guy had to have a wee sit down, I think. So.
When was it?
Did he sit on the chair that moved?
Did he sit on the chair that moved, though?
We obviously took the SP7 up in the Mel Rem and we're getting hits.
I don't know. So basically, with a lot of paranormal groups down here, there is a lot of backbiting and stuff like that. Do you experience that with not so many groups?
Well, not a lot of groups, just one particular group.
One particular group we've had industrial espionage and such.
It's kind of like
backhanded.
It's kind of like paranormal turf wars, so to speak. But we just keep ourselves to ourselves. And if other groups are forthcoming with us, then we'll be absolutely forthcoming with them. We're all out for the same thing. I think it's really vital that we can all share our ideas and share our evidence, and because it's one common goal that we all reach, that we're all trying to reach. So we have no interest in any backbiting or anything like that. Or any kind of
it detracts from what you're actually trying to do is investigate,
well, that's what it's all about, isn't it?
And I think it's such a shame when that happens, because I feel that I can learn from people. We've been working quite closely with a team from Scotland the last couple of investigations called Haunted Solutions, and we've learned stuff from them, and I think hopefully they've learned stuff from us as well. They've given us kind of pointers, and hopefully they've taken some stuff from us as well. And I think that's important, because you've got to try and be as objective as you can and try to get as an open perspective as you can as well.
And I think the big difference with us is we're quite good friends as well. So our group's quite close knit.
It's a close knit family as such.
It's like a family, all look out for each other, and I think that really helps because you spend a lot of time with people on investigations, and I think when you're in places and you're in that environment, you're kind of vulnerable. So you have to rely on your team members to keep
feed off each other, basically,
and feed off each other and keep the energy going, because that's the biggest thing is a good energy within a team.
And the team we work closely, like Haunted Solutions, that's my brother's team. He helped me set up the CPI team. He started his own up. So he's obviously, you've probably heard him, Haunted Solutions. He's owns an equipment store, so he's turned into one of the biggest UK suppliers in the UK and that. So he helps us out. If we need equipment, we go to him, and he will supply us with all the latest gadgets from
Let us test drive them for us. Which is quite good.
I'm going to ask you a couple of questions that I asked our previous guests to see what kind of reaction you give to this, okay? Now, there's a recent theory that we are three-dimensional, with us being three-dimensional beings, spirits are only two-dimensional. And for this reason, this is the reason why we are not interacting very well with our gadgets. What do you think to this? Are we making progress? And if not, where can we?
Well, I think we are making progress, because when you think about it, skeptics keep us in business, because it spurs them on to invent new gear. Gary Galka, for example, he lost his daughter in a crash, and he invented the Milrem in the SP7. To me, that is a great piece of equipment to use in investigations, because the stuff we pick up on through those gadgets alone is amazing. Where 4 years ago,
you wouldn't have that.
You wouldn't have that. You would. Back in the day, it was all like relied on emails and all that. You know what I mean? But now, with the science going forward, you are getting a lot of more results.
It's becoming more scientific as well.
But even at that point, as Scott says, over the new equipment, we also use old equipment as well. The Victorians used to use the past as well. We had a psychic with a few years ago who showed us a piece of equipment, and we eventually made one ourselves. It's using a crystal bell. See, the Victorians used to use this back in the 18th century. And basically, it's a bell, crystal bell, with a clanger thing out of it. It was suspended by thread on a wooden dowel. And the theory was to try and get a spirit to interact with it and actually ting the crystal bell. We actually used it in once an investigation, and
got good results.
Yeah, it was amazing results.
Really good results.
Really good results.
I feel as well, being the newest member to the team, having only been in just over a year, with every investigation that we do, I see and feel a lot more. So to me, I feel that we're getting closer, and we're getting more interaction. I certainly have felt that as a progression on every investigation.
I think what we try to do as well is we try to cover all the bases. you'll get people who are believers, and they'll want to see the sort of mediumship style of investigation coming out, you know, the sort of psychic side of things. But then you'll get people who are sitting on the fence a little bit, who maybe want to see something scientific, something that's hard, solid evidence for them to see, or they want to see something, you know, on the technical side of things. So we try to cover all those bases when we're doing an investigation, you know, and we spend a lot of time online reading through different websites and different researchers and stuff, and try to bring something scientific to what we're doing, which is quite hard to do with the paranormal, because obviously a lot of the people out with the community see it as being a pseudoscience and not a real science, you know, so it's quite difficult to do that, you know, to kind of bring that proof to the people who are sceptical about it.
Right, okay. The other question I need to ask you is, do you feel the terminologies of ghosts and spirits are actually outdated and in need of revising?
Good question.
That is a good question. So we were just talking about that earlier on tonight.
Yeah, we were.
Before we went here, we were talking
I don't think so. I think it's been something that people have.
It's always been there.
It's something that people have sought for hundreds of years, and you know, it's a history in itself. And I think it's very much relevant today.
I think there is some sort of activity come across, so it's quite hard to, you're like straddling two different types of spirit, you know, and you're kind of going, I'm not sure what category that fits into, so it is quite hard sometimes. So I see what you're saying about maybe adding another, you know, term to it, but just kind of what the guys were saying there, yeah.
Well, what makes you believe in the paranormal, the supernatural, and what is the basis of your belief, and what is it grounded in?
My basis personally is what I've experienced and what I do experience on any investigation. I came into it very open-minded, and I try and look at things objectively and try and explain things away. But you know, try and look for the normal before the paranormal. Yes, try and look for the normal before the paranormal. But there's some things that you just, I feel in my experiences, that you just can't explain away. And it's difficult to explain to people who are more sceptical, because it's kind of based in your own experiences, and they can say, well, it could have been X, Y, and Z. You know, it's so I base it on my own experiences, which have never disappointed, and so that's what I'm kind of grounded in. What about you guys?
Well, I was more sceptic before we'd started it out, and that I'm more science kind of based, and but
you do science.
Yeah, I'm doing science. So I think that happened before, like stuff had happened when I was younger and things like that I just put it off to being just stuff that happens. But with joining the team and things, you do begin to believe the things that you do question things, and I think you have to have that in life. You have to question stuff and then base those questions on your questions of what is there in life. Yeah. So that's what I'm at.
Well, for me, as a kid, I was a big Ghostbusters fan. I always wanted to be a Ghostbuster. So
you had to be Mr. Marshmallow, man.
God, you must be young then.
I'm the daddy.
It made me feel old.
I'm the daddy of the team. I'm 41, so I feel like
I'm 28 next week. And I run one paranormal team, and my brother's 25. He runs his own paranormal team.
And I'm the daddy of them all. I'm the daddy.
So it's been I've been into it since I was a small kid.
Lord.
Reading paranormal books and that, and like I say, when the shows came out, all the shows from Most Wanted, and I was like, well, we can do that. Then when you start doing it, you realise how much nonsense Most Wanted is and all that, and you can.
Stephen's not liking that at all.
I'm a big fan of Most Haunted. Sorry if
Are you really a big fan of Most Haunted?
Yes.
Well, that's kind of the first. That was my first foray. That I was a big fan of the show, and I know it was based in kind of entertainment is what it was supposed to be, but that's what kind of first got my interest in going on an investigation and trying to emulate that. But I've kind of moved away from that now, and I've seen what's involved, I've seen what's behind it, and how scientific it is. It's a lot of hard work. It's not like the TV. It's a lot of hard work, and we don't have a big team behind us. That's not a slight on the guys at Most Haunted, because I'm still a big fan.
Me personally, I can't watch any paranormal show on telly anymore, because the investigator in me saying, well,
why did you do that? Why are you doing that?
There's obviously a logical explanation and everything. You know what I mean?
So do you do live events, by the way? Do you do, when I say live events, do you do them to the public?
Yes.
So what do you think attracts others to this?
It's the same beliefs that we have. The same thing that we, and that's how I came to the team. I approached them, and they're like, a team like this forms a kind of conduit for people to get involved.
Yeah.
And allows them, someone who's like kind of professional, who has all the equipment and who's had a lot of experience, and that's what brings people. It's kind of like a taste of what they see on the TV, and then their kind of opinion changes. They see what's involved, and so I think that's what, and also just the paranormal itself.
It's the interest. It's the unknown. Yeah, it's the unknown.
I think it's innate in every human being that we just things that we don't know.
We don't need
to know them,
And it's also
a fatal flaw.
It's also
because it's good with an event is after the events you see everybody. They've came in non-believing and they've went away believing, and we purely do our events because it's an expensive hobby and equipment doesn't come cheap, so it's a win-win situation for everyone.
Yeah.
And there's also something that I found that there's that adrenaline that you get from being in a reportedly haunted place in the dark. There's that. It's a kind of a rush. And that's what keeps me. That's what spurs me on. I get a real rush from being in a haunted location and being in the dark and not knowing what's going to happen. That's what I find is a big draw as well.
Yeah, to me it's good as well, because when you do the public events, we don't do them that often. We try to do as many private investigations as we can, but when we do them, what's good about them is you're actually meeting people who have an interest in what you're doing and also in the field that you're investigating, and it gives you a sense of community. You're actually meeting people and becoming friends, and it kind of broadens it out. And what we found as well, people have actually said to us, we're thinking of starting up our own team now and asking us for advice, which is quite good.
And I'd just like to point out that Andy says that I scream like a wee girl on the chat, which I did it once. And I've never lived it down.
Just the once.
He also says that he's also had an experience, however. Little wee T, I take it that's Tracy. Like little wee T, he says, I want to be sure and look for different explanations. So, which is the best way to be, isn't it? It's no good saying everything is definitely paranormal. Ghost Rider would like to know, what is your favourite investigation and where would you like to do an investigation?
Well, mine personally, mine was Castle Menzies about 3 years ago. Because something major happened to me that night.
And me.
And Scott. Well, first time Scott went to Castle Menzies, he was actually knocked back against the wall. Me personally, I had to be carried out the castle in the night. I collapsed in the castle, totally exhausted. I couldn't walk, talk, or anything. I was getting heart palpitations. I was getting dizziness. And that week we were there, was coming up to the 500th anniversary of the castle. When Scott's brother Craig was with the team at the time, he said basically we had to get to the castle at night or something, seriously was going to happen to one of us. And unfortunately it happened to me, I had to be carried out. So I think that was the most things that ever happened to me.
For me, it would be Robin Hall. Again, the first night we ever went there, the K2 hits we were getting, it was so intelligent. It was flashing 2 for yes and 1 for no, and the questions we were answering, no way it could have been anything out of the ordinary. It was so, this spirit was really intelligent, and again, secondly, it was Castle Menzies. Again, I highly recommend it to any team going.
For me, it was, we actually were approached to come to someone's private home because they had been experiencing a lot of kind of negative phenomena. And I had been to different locations, and you know, the big houses and the castles, and I've never had as much experience as I did in this wee flat. And that was the place where I seen my first kind of apparition. That I seen. We all saw it in the circle, and so that was the most enjoyable for me. And the place that I would love to go and investigate is the place, the jail in America.
Oh, Alcatraz.
Alcatraz. I'd love to go there.
Yeah, you and me both.
Or the Eastern State Penitentiary.
Yeah, the Eastern State
Stanley Hotel and Bobby Mackey's for me.
We're getting a lot of questions on whether you've done the Edinburgh Vaults or Niddridge Street Vaults.
And they're not worth the money.
Are they not?
And Roslyn.
And what about Roslyn Chapel?
Or the Castle.
Or the Castle, Chapel of Castle?
No, I mean, we're opening, we're getting out there, and I think these are places of interest for us. We haven't been there yet. We've all had our experiences in Edinburgh Vaults. I did a vigil there about 6 or 7 years ago during part of the Ghost Fest, where I spent 6 hours down there with 9 other people, and it was a fantastic experience. It's definitely somewhere that we would like to go as a team. With the experience.
We've not actually been there as a team in this.
Well, I've done it in a team. Nothing really happened, to be honest.
But that's why you would want to go back, because you've only been there.
Yeah, it was relatively quiet, but you couldn't really get much done because obviously the clubs next door was too much contamination in that. But the place I would like to try next is Mary King's Close. I've heard good stories about that. And
Are these all in Scotland?
Yes.
Mary King's Close to one of the vaults there.
Yeah, I know Mary King's Close. I was talking about.
I'd say, in fact, Andy's the Frasmaster saying about the Underwood Lockhouse in chat. Andy was with us that night and took some real great photographs. There's one photograph alone with a shadow. It was a figure about 5'8", 5'9", and a photograph standing behind one of the people who were there that night.
We actually saw a chair move.
And we saw a chair move that night as well. So that's in Bonnybridge, just outside Stirling.
I'd love to do some places in Scotland, but it's, by the time you've done the investigation and travel back, it's like, oh.
Yeah. You really have to stay overnight, basically. If you go to Scotland, you have to stay a bed and breakfast or hotel and stay overnight.
We actually done a place, my family's from Cumbria, we done Broom Hall in Penrith. Most Wanted have done it, and what a place that was. Me and my brother done it, just the two of us, and we had it from 6 o'clock at night right through 6 in the morning, and it's got a secret World War II bunker. Winston Churchill and that was there, and the activity we were getting there was, it was amazing.
No, there's exciting times ahead for us. There's lots of things in the pipeline that places that we're trying to get.
If you come up, you can stay at Andy's house. Andy's stay at my house.
Come up and stay at Andy's, get spare rooms.
Ooh, that sounds cool.
Don't give me any ideas.
So, are you a company or are you a not-for-profit group?
You're a not-for-profit group.
You're a not-for-profit group.
Yeah, but a group of friends, basically, I'm more like one big happy family more than anything else. I mean, Janet and Tracy, to me personally, are like sisters. Scott's like my brother, and Stephen is just like under sibling. Your brother.
I'm the adopted brother.
And at the end of the day, we're not in it. You've got a lot of teams in it to make money. We only do events purely to fund our equipment, because equipment does not come easy. See, it's an expensive hobby. We just purchased a male rem there. It cost us 190 quid. You know what I mean? So
yeah. I can understand that. We're a not-for-profit group as well. Me and Steve are part of UK Shadow Seekers.
That's right, yep.
We should join forces for an investigation.
Why not? Sounds cool to me. Can always sleep on the floor. It doesn't matter to me. If you want to come down and do an investigation down in England, and I'm more prepared to double up with you, not a problem.
That would be fantastic. You guys can come here and we'll put you up with hospitality up here.
Because the next investigation I would like to go is Morecambe Winter Gardens down in Morecambe. That's my main focus is. That's where I would love to go take the team next.
Where's that? Morecambe
Winter Gardens.
Oh, my favourite place. I actually got that started, you know.
Does it?
Yeah. My claim to fame. My little passion, that is.
Yeah, we're going back towards the end of the year.
We're going back in on the 30th of November.
Brilliant.
Oh, are you? But what kind of things have you experienced there?
Yeah, it's a fantastic place, I must admit. I saw my first apparition there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We was on the stairs, and I was obviously running a group, and one of the members turned around and said, "Who's just walked down them stairs?" And I said, "What did you see?" And I didn't want to say nothing, and he said it was a small person. And I said, "Did you feel as though it was a boy or something, you know?" And he said, "Yes." And he explained exactly what I saw. And then we went into the break, and I said to one of the friends of Morecambe, we've just seen, me and a member of the public have just seen an apparition. Do you have any children's spirits here? And she said, no. So I said, well, we've just seen a young boy, and I had the feeling that he had a school uniform on, and I'm 5'2", 5'3", and he would have come up to, you know, my chest sort of thing. And we picked up just before then the name of Georgie. Yeah. And she went, hold on, I'll be back in a minute. And I thought, how rude at the time. I was talking to you. When she came back, she brought me a copy of an old programme, Wee Georgie Woods. Yeah. And I went, who's that? Yeah. And she turned around and said, he was a small lad, a small man, a bit like Jimmy Cranky, you know, sort of thing. Yeah, right. And his stage performance was that of a schoolboy.
Oh my God.
Oh, okay. And that was my very first experience.
And it's also the only place that you're scared of.
And it's now the only place that I'm scared of, because I went under the stage. I'll tell you a funny story about this. I went under the stage one particular time, and they were all supposed to follow me in, and they were still mucking about in the shower bit, and I sat there waiting, and I heard a chair move in the dark, and I went, who's that? And then I heard it again on the other side, and when they came in, I said, don't sit there, that chair just moved. So they sat there, and we asked for the chair to move, and it moved. We heard it move.
God.
And, the next time I was there, don't laugh, I was underneath the stage again. This is a funny one. This is what's done my head in now. Right? And we were standing there, and all of a sudden I saw a shadow on the wall. Well, unbeknown to me, my torch had come on in my pocket. And every time I sort of went, oh my God, and every time I moved back, the shadow was getting bigger. And then somebody said, your torch is on.
When you're talking about chairs moving,
oh my God, but the chair moves. 2.5 years
ago, myself and Scott were in the Angel Library. Scott and myself were based. And about 2:20 in the morning, I was talking to Scott along with one of the librarians at night. 2:20 in the morning in the archives area of the library, and a chair pulled itself out from the table, and there was four chairs tucked under the table, and you could hear the chair dragging itself along the carpet, and just Scott and myself in the library just looked at each other, and it was like, where the hell did that come from? No,
I actually caught a chair moving in Coven Hall as well.
Yeah, on camera, caught it on camera.
I find it really impressive when you see when objects move, and when we done an investigation in a local pub, the West End Bar in Coatbridge, we were in the ladies' bathroom where there's a lot of activity.
I've seen his place in the bathroom, though.
And the cubicle door, we were filming it at the time, and it just slammed shut. It just started moving ever so slightly, and then just with a bit of force, just slammed right shut. And I like it when you see objects, so that it's
it did it on command after that.
And it did it on command as well, so we were quite impressed there as well.
See, we're up against it because all the evidence you catch with all this new technology out, people can easily CGI stuff, fake stuff.
Yeah.
You're up against it all the time, and
when we did the public investigation, we had a feeling.
Yeah, dirty buggers and nibble on my jelly babies. I've a big bag of jelly babies in the neck them all.
When we were, we did a public investigation, didn't we? A penny was thrown, but we've got reason to believe that we think it was maybe one of the members of the public that done that, and that's kind of one of the drawbacks when you're introducing an unknown element. Like within your own team, you can control what's going on, but when you're doing like the public investigations, you can't always control what's happening around you. So that's a bit of a drawback because it's very important to us that we don't fake stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you're under so much scrutiny already anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like Fraz Master says, your teammate. It's easy to debunk from film, but when they come to an invest, they freak out.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. There's lots of screaming, and that's just not from me.
There's a lot else to try and get people to relax.
What's your favourite gadget?
Favourite?
Yeah.
For me, it's the SP7. With
Spirit Box.
The Spirit Box, and simply because when it scans the radio frequencies, it scans it backwards. So any words that come through shouldn't be from the radio because it's going backwards. So when I hear a legible word, as we did last week,
yes, a very
very we were actually scoring it.
We can't repeat it.
Can't repeat it in the air
due to the profanity rule.
It was quite vulgar, but but I was really surprised to pick up actual sentences.
Yeah.
From it, and not just kind of fragmented words and bits and pieces, and the same names what kept coming up, and we heard French as well, and we'd been told an hour before by the medium that there was a French woman there that was tending to horses, wasn't it? So that for me is my favourite gadget.
Well, I've got a couple. I've got, like I said, SB7, the Melrem ETD, and the laser grid, which is surprisingly, it's for a wee gadget, it's quite effective. Which is quite good. What about you, Stevie?
Me personally, it's going to be the Victorian tool, the Spirit Bell. For me personally, it's something. If there's something they use in there up to modern days, it's a tool the Victorians never had much electricity. They didn't have it on the digital equipment we've got these days. The Melrem, they have a K2. It was one of the first pieces of ghost equipment mediums or psychics ever used back in the Victorian age. It can still be used in this day. It's also personal. I feel it can't be cheated with.
No.
Because if you think about it, it's a glass bell or a crystal bell. They're clanging thing out, so nobody can touch it.
No.
Only you're holding it. If nobody else is touching it, how no, something's clanging at it.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
What about you, girls?
Well, I would be probably the dictaphone. I think I like to listen here for stuff through the EVPs and things. I just don't know why. That's my personal.
We've got some good EVPs.
Yeah, we find that we get really good EVPs in that, and I think they're very good evidence.
Very class A ones.
Yeah. I know that a lot of EVPs are open to interpretation, but we've actually got some stuff that's just. We know it was a controlled environment. We know that there wasn't any interference.
And we usually triangulate.
And we try to use a triangulated method where you're kind of pinpointing where the actual EVPs coming from, the actual area where it, in the room where it came from. So so we know that there's no like interference there. But my favourite's probably the SB7 as well. We did have one before, but it wasn't anywhere near as good as Hack Shack. But we've got a new one now, and it's fantastic. We get really good results.
I feel as well that as the newest member of the team, I think the old-fashioned ways, like a séance, and even just standing in a circle, I find that the most effective, because I believe that it's all energy, and if you create a circle of energy, then it builds up. It builds up the ambience and the atmosphere, and I believe that is a kind of that I don't want that to be overlooked. In the wake of all the new equipment, I think
sometimes you've got to go to basics, haven't you?
Sometimes you have to rely on what you feel as well. What I feel.
And investigators have got to go with their guts.
You've got to go with your guts, and I think and I know that feelings are open to interpretation, and it's quite objective, but I think
that technology to back you up.
It backs it up. But I think the good old fashioned communicating that way, I feel is quite imperative to still carry on with.
Yeah. Right. Can I just talking about crystal bells, and also we were talking about Morecambe Winter Gardens earlier. When we first went there, on a Sunday they used to have like a little market in there, stalls, Sunday stalls, and one of the stalls used to have crystal bells, and they was arranged on top of mirrors, and obviously they covered them up and that at night. One Sunday when they went in, they moved one of the bells, and the mirror underneath was actually marked like a coffee stain, and it couldn't be washed off. It was actually emblazed in the mirror.
Yeah, they couldn't work out that.
They couldn't get it off.
That's weird.
Your friend Franz Master says he likes his camera. It's a basic 3G digi camera, which brings out good pics. And I agree with Stevie regarding the crystal bell. Otherwise known as, hold on, let me just go back a bit. Who's Stevie otherwise known as? He did say.
Cue-ball.
That's it, yeah.
The
crystal bell is a good experience. He said, as the team knows, he would like them to leave, to have body cameras. Using these means we will gather even more evidence. Body cameras?
Yeah.
Well, we had that.
It's sort of an action camera like skiers or the police use, basically for catching evidence. They've got the action cameras on the shoulder.
Oh, right. Yeah, I understand.
Andy had come up with an idea of getting one of them last year, basically.
Yeah.
So we can attach to a hat or a helmet. Basically, we walk about, recording AVI, basically. On your SD memory card, we could check back footage.
Because we actually had a full spectrum head camera, Andy wore, but it failed after 2 investigations. Last.
So it's something we'll definitely be looking into to get.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe you can have a look at the link on Paranormal Events for you, which you can advertise on there free, by the way. Your events, and as long as you don't put the prices on, just put a link to your site. There's a link on there for the Ghost Store. It's run by pigs, which they used to be or they are ex-police officers, so maybe they may be able to get the call. You never know.
My brother's talking to me about being involved, yeah.
So I won't call Scotty that name, I must admit.
Thanks, Andy.
Captain. They say they didn't go outdoor. Oh, do they? But
Lord.
But there are other outdoor stores, I must say that. But trying to get a full spec is difficult. But yeah, but this is the thing about all the gadgets we use. They're not really ghost hunting stuff, are they? But they have come in useful for us.
Yeah.
Well, the equipment, like they say, the Mel Rem and the SB7 was invented by Gary Galka because his daughter died. That was the main, because he wanted to know if if she was okay, if there was life after death, and that's why he is an award-winning paranormal inventor. The stuff he's coming out with is just totally amazing.
Right, okay.
What has he said? What's he said?
That's Andy saying, just don't tell about the time you got pulled over.
Tell me about the time you got pulled over.
It's more like Andy. He knows the best things.
I don't
It's
know.
that dog in name.
Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a short break while we do the paranormal events, and then we'll come back, okay?
Okay.
I'll turn you down so you can talk among yourselves, all right?
Okay.
We've got all the news right here. Don't go away.
Fed up of wading through the activities and events that other advertisers include? Find just what you're looking for at paranormaleventsforyou.com, your one-stop paranormal directory.
On the 11th of May, UK Shadow Seekers are going to the Rotunda in Liverpool. On the 18th of May, Wasp Paranormal are going to Fort Amherst in Kent. On the 18th of May, Haunted Places Paranormal are off to Hayes Library, Bromley, Hayes in Kent. On the 23rd of May, UK Shadow Seekers are holding a paranormal social night at the Boundary near to Guybridge Station in Ashton-under-Lyne. On the 25th of May, Club Zero are going to Mill Street Barracks in St Helens. On the 1st of June, Grave Encounters UK are doing a charity event at Drakelow Tunnels near Kidderminster. On the weekend of the 1st of June, there's a Mind, Body and Spirit Fair at the new Epic Centre, Lincolnshire Showground, Grange de Lines in Lincoln. On the 7th of June, Twilight Paranormal are going to Dolby House, Ilkeston in Derbyshire. On the 7th of June, UK Shadow Seekers, in conjunction with Simply Ghost Nights, are going to Galleries of Justice in Nottingham. On the 8th of June, the UK's first portal webcam live investigation starts from 9 p.m. For more information, contact the Paranormal Events for You website. On the 15th of June, Haunted Places Paranormal are doing the Canterbury Tales at St Margaret Street in Canterbury. On the 22nd of June, UK Shadow Seekers are going somewhere in the middle of nowhere.
So check out the one-stop paranormal directory for more investigations and events available now. ParanormalEventsForYou.com also offers banner advertising for only £10 per year. See our website for more details. ParanormalEventsForYou.com, your one-stop paranormal directory. Yeah, welcome back to the show. That's the events that are coming up at the moment. There's plenty more for you to see at ParanormalEventsForYou.com. And don't forget, if you are an investigating team, you can advertise on there, and any mediums and any paranormal related stuff, mind, body and spirits shows, you can advertise them all on there free of charge. All we ask is that you don't put your prices, just put a link to your website. And you must have a website, okay? Well, we're here with the crew, the Motley crew, I think, from Caledonia Paranormal Investigation Team up there in Bonnie, Scotland. And we've also got one of their team members tucked up in bed in Manchester, which is not far away from us.
He's getting sacked tonight after this.
He's getting suspended.
His next appraisal is not going to be going well.
I don't know. So, guys, what kind of events have you got coming up in the next few weeks?
Well, we've got Abbott House in Dunfermline coming up in the 7th of June.
7th of June, yeah.
Friday the 7th of June. It's, I believe, the first time that a paranormal investigation team's actually done that place.
Okay.
So it'll be really exciting for us to do that. As Stephen said earlier on, we went there to do some scouting, just to kind of get the lay of the place, kind of get a history of the place, and also meet some of the people that work there and stuff. We also took our equipment up to kind of get some base readings and stuff. We'll also do that again on the night, but it's just to kind of get a run through the place. And we got stuff that day during daylight, so that was pretty good. So
because you experienced stuff, used to go there as a child, so you experienced.
Yeah, that's kind of what brought the places. When I went there as a child, I remember weird things happening there, so that's kind of what made us contact them to see if it was possible. We didn't think we would get it, but we did. So we've got that coming up in the 7th of June, but we haven't really got any for a while.
We've got Inverary Jail, was basically our anniversary. It's a 4-year anniversary. That's a private investigation, but that's for our anniversary special, basically 4 years together. So that's going to be a special for us all, basically.
And we'll probably have another event at Halloween, but we're going to donate the proceeds to charity, because we do a charity work as well. So if we do an event, all proceeds, we don't make a penny, go straight to a good work.
A local charity, hopefully.
Yeah, be a local charity.
Right, okay. So what's your how long do you expect to go on for? Are you still in the what they call the honeymoon period of
no. We're in the honeymoon period.
We're all falling in each other. We're going through divorce now.
We've been divorced, we've done the reconciliation, we've redone the vows again, we're all married again.
I think, well, I don't want to speak out of turn, but being a new member of the team, I think that kind of revitalises it. And there's myself and there's Colin, the medium, as well.
Yeah, we just added Colin, so easily done team.
So me and Colin are the kind of new team. So it kind of revitalises it, and it makes everybody kind of take stock and reevaluate. And it changes the dynamic of the existing team. So it's almost like a kind of fresh start. And we all, move into the unknown together.
Because, like I say, I've been doing this for 4 years now. Last year I was ready for giving it up, if I'm honest.
So I spoke to Top Scott.
But then Janet, Tracy and Andy came on board, and Stephen, and I found my passion again, and I love it. I can't wait. Every month we go out and do a thing, and I can't wait, because we're so organised, we've got all the planning, we have our meetings, and it's, end of the day, it's friends, and it's family. You feel like a family, we all get on, that's what you want.
We meet up once a week, once a fortnight, we go out as well, we get organised with nice out, we have a club or a pub, a drink, and chill and relax as well. So we're more a close-knit family sort of situation than any other team. Other teams, when we see each other every 2 or 3 months to get together. Ourselves, I've kept myself lucky. I've got 5 close friends to me: Janet, Tracy, and Scott, and Stephen, and Colin. And all that. And Andy as well. He kept my backside for us, and Andy as well. We're 6 friends, I should say. 6 friends.
You forgot about you, Andy.
Sorry, Andy. It's that close. And you know yourself, friends are few and far between these days. Yeah. You've got good friends like I've got, and the team we've got. You can't go wrong.
To share a common interest like this as well is quite comforting. You can talk to each other about it without feeling kind of ridiculous, and so I find it is, and we bounce off each other really well.
And we want each other straight as well, don't we?
Obviously, Jazz Master, is it Andy?
Yes.
Yeah. He's just said that that you do have some really good nights, and there's a lot of interesting places in Scotland. I do love Scotland, my heart's there, I must admit. And he does say that you all get on well. You do have words now and again, but you all love each other, which is the best thing to be. Okay. Yeah. We've been UK Shadow Seekers for 7 years, and if you can keep that, then you're on the right track. Okay. As I say, if you can keep that going, then you're on the right track. Okay, that's just my little bit of advice.
Thank you.
Because that is the main thing when you're part of a group. Everything else will just flow after that, and when people see you being friendly towards each other, then they end up having a good time as well. Because they can see that it's no atmosphere and between the group.
The good time Nick my jelly babies as well.
I don't know.
Jelly babies, what is it?
Watch out for the Jaffa cakes. Well, Steve and I are actually due up in Scotland, hopefully, beginning of September. So maybe we can meet up if you're not far from Glasgow.
That would be fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're going to Glasgow, so hopefully we can.
Near us.
Yeah.
We're going to go past for Glasgow, so that's brilliant.
Right, so maybe we can meet up and have a chat and have a drink sometime.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
We'll take you to Proven Hall, and we'll take you to the mental asylum as well.
It'll have to be Sunday night though. We've got a wedding to go to on the Saturday. I don't know, but it's been great talking to you guys, and hopefully you'll come on again sometime. You know what I mean? And as I say, please come on the chat room now and again and get involved in the conversations and have a laugh. Okay.
Yes.
And maybe we'll get you back on in a few months' time and see what's going on with you.
Yes, absolutely.
All right then. You take care.
You too,
Take care, thank you.
Right, don't be a stranger, okay?
We will.
See you soon. Bye. Well, there they are. They're great guys, aren't they? God. Really, really happy. Bunch of nutters, Andy 707 has said. Well, I think you've got to be nutters to be in this game, to be honest with you. Don't you agree? And it's nice to have Andy Frasmaster there as well, even though he's not with the crew. He's still managed to get on and be part of it, so that's really, really good. And somebody's got to buy so-and-so some, was it Stevens, some jelly babies now? It definitely does help to be mad, I must admit. Well, that more or less brings us to the end of our show. What do we do now?
Call now.
No, we don't want you to call now. So basically, I've got to let you know what's coming up next week.
Coming soon.
Right, okay. Next week, we have Lee Brickley, who's going to be talking to us. By my diary. Don't go, he says. Well, you're late again, aren't you? If you didn't hear it earlier, Lee Brickley is actually the guy who's talking about paranormal Cannock Chase. And he's a British ufologist, British paranormal researcher and cryptozoologist. And he's from a small English mining village in Staffordshire. And we're going to be talking about the werewolves and strange happenings on Cannock Chase. So I know some of you have to work.
I need.
Also,
eating sounds good to me, actually.
It does, actually. I feel a bit peckish. Also on the show, we will be having Tim Brown back from Pigs and Paranormal Investigation Group in Sussex. And basically they will be discussing their new store that they're doing, which sells paranormal equipment. And obviously now that Tom's Cadget seems to have disappeared, maybe they're the new face for it. So I've already ordered some of that. Actually, what's your views on werewolves and vampires? I'll let you know when I come back from Romania next week. We're off to Romania next week, so it is actually the Mayhem show as well, because once we finish the show, we'll be getting ready to fly off for to investigate Bran Castle in Romania. We went there last week. What do you mean no show next week? There is a show next week.
I mean, yeah, we didn't go last week though. We went last year.
Last year, yeah. There is a show next week, Andy.
Yeah, there will be a show.
Next Wednesday, there will be a show. I just told you. Lee Brinkley talking about werewolves and vampires.
You'll have to wait for the replay, mind you.
And you said you're off. Yes, after the show. Once we finish the show, yeah, then we'll be getting ready and finishing off the packing. And we'll be leaving about 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, and the show will be finishing at 10:30.
And then the show will definitely be finishing at 10:30 to give us time. And then when we come back, the day we come back, by the time we get in, we'll have enough time to eat and set up everything.
Hopefully.
And
actually,
you never know, it might be a 9 o'clock start, that one, because that's the day we get back.
I'm actually thinking of leaving everything set up, ready to...
Yeah, that'd be an idea, wouldn't it? But when we come back, let's see who we've got on. When we come back, we've got a young man called Evan Muckle. We were talking about our investigation in Brancastle, and basically we'll have a young man on from Twilight Paranormal, so they'll be talking to us about what they do and this, that, and the other. And is that his real name? I think so. I'll find out. So as I say, it's going to be a bit hectic for the next 2 weeks. What with getting ready to go and then getting back, and within an hour or so getting the show up and running and getting started. So we've done it before, haven't we, Steve?
Yes, we did it last year.
Yeah, we did it last year. We got in at 5:30, grabbed something to eat, and was on the show bang on for 8 o'clock.
It was it was a bit of a shock on the price I paid for dinner as well.
What is the most haunted venue in the UK today? Oh, what would you say, Steve?
It's very much a matter of opinion, really.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
I mean, round here, you can't get all the places now, but High Town Hall was good.
High Town Hall was good until they stopped most of the haunted areas.
Morecambe's really good on the night.
Yeah. Where else?
Worcester Mansion, Andy's put there. It's another good place.
Yeah.
So it's very much like
Transport Museum in Manchester. Yeah, we're going back there sometime. They've asked us to go back. I can't think of where else now. We used to like the Golden Fleece as well, didn't we? Drakelow Tunnels.
Yeah, Drakelow's very
like
good. Nottingley Town Hall.
Oh, yes.
It's only small, but we get something every single time.
Yeah, definitely. But which Transport Museum? It's in Cheetham Hill. If you're here for a while,
it's the bus.
It's the bus transport museum.
The bus museum.
Yeah, and let me think. Is there anywhere else that we consider good? There's places up in York. York's quite a haunted place, as I say, and just off the top of my head, that's what I was saying. Would it be possible to attend the event? Which event would you like to attend?
If you're here, you're quite welcome.
I dreamt about it for a week and it all came true. Oh, where's the worst place you've been? Worst? Oh God, got quite a few. Yes, if you want, when we book it. If you give us an idea of when you want to do it, we'll try and book it round about when you're coming down. Okay, so it'll probably be, I don't know.
Worst place.
I can't think of them. So let us know on that. You know, we'll chat. So yeah, I'm just trying to think.
There was one place we went, and we never ever got anything every time we went, but I can't remember where it was.
Stanley Palace was a bit of a no, because of the fact of the hard floorboards, wasn't it? And you could hear everyone. So I didn't really get much from that. Where else would you say, Steve? Can't think off the
top of my head, to be honest.
We've had dead nights, haven't we? But then we've gone back to places which haven't been too bad. The London Dungeons is utter rubbish. Funny enough, you should say that. York Dungeons, because of where it's situated next to that nightclub.
That's rubbish.
That's rubbish to me. So, you know, and but yeah.
Well, the nightclub kicks off at about 10, 11 o'clock, and all you can hear is music on it.
Well, this is it, and it does affect it. So, but yeah, it's not too bad. So I would definitely like to come up to Scotland and do something. I did think about that Inverary Jail myself, but it was a distance, wasn't it? That's the trouble. So,
and he's the same as me. He's got a very haunted shoebox.
Haunted shoebox. So, but yeah, we'll have to get together and put our heads together and maybe come up with an event, if that's all right with you, and maybe we can double up somewhere. So, you know, and see what we can find. What do you reckon, Steve?
Sounds good to me.
So, because it's good to share, I must admit, and I think it's really good to share experiences and share information and everything. That's why we keep the paranormal friendly. That's our motto anyway. So, but yeah, that's the way I look at it. So until next week, it's time for us to go, I'm afraid, Andy 707. We'd like to thank Richard Holland for joining us earlier on, and we look forward to next week when Lee will be on with us talking about Cannock Chase. We'd also like to thank
the crazy team from Scotland.
The crazy team from Caledonia Paranormal, and wish them all the luck in the world with their paranormal investigating, and also their team in general, because if they stay the way they're going, with the friendship and that, obviously everyone falls out now and again, but I really think that is the key to a paranormal team, don't you think, Steve?
It is indeed. You've got to keep the team fresh and getting on well.
Yeah, definitely. So, but as I say, when it comes to the paranormal in general, as long as you can keep an open mind and not take things for granted when something does happen, then, and be true to yourself as well as the people that are with you, then, you're in the right place, aren't you, Steve?
Yep.
And that's the way it's got to be. And from a non-profit group ourselves, UK Shadow Seekers, it's the way we like to work. We've been doing it for 7 years now, coming up to our 8th year, and it's been a blast. And we've been keeping the paranormal friendly since we started, and it has been a struggle, I must admit, but as I say,
it's what it's about, though.
It is what it's about.
It's about getting over that and carrying on through to find what you need to do.
Yeah. So Andy, I'm sorry, without waffling too long, because that's what it'll end up being. I'm going to have to go, I'm afraid. And I will speak to you all soon, whether it be on Facebook. Don't forget, as I said, you can join the KTPF forum and get involved there with all the topics that are there. Add your own group, put your group on there, and basically find out bits and pieces on there, and put your own experiences on. There's that there you can do. And see you next week, guys. Great show. Thanks, Lee. Look forward to speaking to you, my love. And we'll do that Skype test during the day on Wednesday. And as I say, you can join that if you're a group. You can go on to Paranormal Events for you and put your events on there, and they get advertised on the show as well. So until next week, I'm afraid it's time to go, and we'll see you all soon. Good night and God bless.
And just before we just before we go, we've just been asked from CPIT. It will be on our YouTube channel. It's taken us a couple of days to get it on because we've been very, very busy at the moment. But going back to what Sue was about to say.
Yeah, don't forget, guys, whatever happens,
keep the paranormal friendly.
Good night,
everyone.
Thank you.
Every Wednesday night. This is where it's at.
Good night.
And now, here's a word from our sponsor.
Be honest. Right now, you probably want to lose some weight, live a healthier, more active lifestyle, or get in better shape. We're here to challenge you. Challenge you to make your health a priority with the new Body by Vine 90-Day Challenge.
My favorite thing about the challenge was just losing the weight. Got my life back, that's it.
I come home now, go out and play in the yard with the kids, go to the gym, take the kids to the gym, and starting to live life finally.
Now we've gone from being couch potatoes to being, fit athletes, working out, strength training every single day. It's changed our whole lifestyle, the way that we look at our day.
Let's be real. You don't have to look far to see we have a problem, a growing problem. With today's work demands and faster paced lifestyle driving us toward quick fixes, it's no secret how we got here. And if you're like most who have searched for a solution, you've only found more frustration. Instead of forcing you to adapt your lifestyle to fit a program, the Body by Vine Challenge adopted our program to fit your lifestyle. Finally, something that's simple, affordable, fun, tastes amazing, and most importantly, it works. The Body by Vi Challenge is the solution you've been searching for. The challenge is the world's #1 90-day platform for weight loss and fitness results. To date, over 500 million ViSalus shakes have been served to millions of people who have already lost millions of pounds, making the challenge the fastest growing weight loss and fitness movement in the world today. Powered by a line of innovative wellness products from ViSalus, the Body by Vi Challenge is the perfect way to start a lasting health transformation. First, you set a goal. Then, select a kit and enter to win. It's that easy. And in a minute, you'll learn how you can even get your kit for free. Let's talk about your goal. If you were to set a 90-day health goal right now, what would it be? Lose some weight? Shed some inches? Run a 5K? Build some muscle? Whatever it is, it all starts with you going public with your challenge goal. Then, you'll select one of 5 challenge kits designed to help you accomplish your goal. The centerpiece of each kit is the Vi-shaped shake. With a scientifically proven formula, thousands of healthy and delicious ways to mix it up, the Vi Shake is easy, affordable, and tastes amazing. And since it's a healthy meal replacement, the challenge can actually save you money on your eating out and grocery bills.
Challenge kits are so simple, convenient, easy for a person to take, and it gives them all the nutrients they need to keep their body functioning at the peak performance level.
You can have even more fun and nearly triple your chance of success when you do it with others. That's why ViSalus created the 3 for Free program. That helps you get your kit for free when you refer 3 others to take the challenge with you. Last year, over 400,000 free kits were awarded to people on the challenge. Do you want your kit for free?
The 3 for Free program just allows anybody, no matter what circumstances they are, to get their product for free and get healthy at the same time.
I absolutely love the idea that we can get our products for free if we just ask 3 people.
And new in 2013, it gets even better. Having helped millions find success, we're so confident that we've added a new 90-day money-back results guarantee. Save money. Get it for free. Money-back guarantee. You've got absolutely nothing to lose. But wait. Need more reasons? How about 47 million more? Last year alone, we gave away over $47 million worth of free product, prizes, and vacations for people on the challenge. And now with the new Body by Vi Challenge, there are even more ways to win, with bigger weekly, monthly, and grand prizes. After studying millions of challenge transformations, we believe that the secret to your success lies in losing the first 10 pounds. That's why we've launched Project 10, where every week in 2013, we're awarding a total of $10,000 to 10 people who lose 10 pounds. Just document your challenge and submit for a chance to be one of 5 men and women selected every week to win $1,000 in cash. What would you do with an extra $1,000? Plus, since everyone who loses on the challenge really wins, lose 10 pounds and rock your free I Lost It t-shirt. How soon will you be saying, I lost it? Every month, those judged to have the best 90-day weight loss, active, and fitness results win and are named Body by Vi Challenge finalists. Feel like a celebrity with your professional photo shoot at Vi Gear Shopping Spree to show off your success and move on to the finals for a chance at being the next Body by Vi champion. 3 times a year, ViSalus celebrates the most inspiring 90-day weight loss, active, and fitness transformations by crowning our new Body by Vi champions.
Absolutely amazing. We want this for everybody, so commit, submit, you never know. You fill that thing out and you can win. This is amazing. Our lives are going to change.
Experience the Vi life when the red carpet is rolled out for all champions on the ultimate transformation vacation. And while it's great to be treated like an A-lister just for transforming your health, let's not forget the $5,000 Beverly Hills wardrobe shopping spree. You could be the next Body by Vi champion.
It's been just amazing, getting picked up by a private driver and the goodie bags and the schedule and the feeding and the dresses. It's just been amazing.
It's exciting to know that when you set that goal, as long as you challenge yourself, you're going to get there.
And by simply selecting a kit, you have access to all the resources you need to succeed. Take the challenge And you'll realize it's not just about what you have to lose, but what you have to gain. So, set your goal, select your kit, enter to win. Talk to the person who showed you this video to learn more or to be invited to a challenge party near you. There is no better time than now to start making your health a priority. So why not start losing weight, getting fit, saving money, and having fun, guaranteed. Are you up for the new Body by Vi challenge?
The one phone call that I made to try to join the challenge to lose weight has changed every aspect of our life.